Yeah. Well, all right. Like you always say, welcome, welcome, welcome. #1 sports talking D. We ain't like the Falcons, we won't blow the lead. Look, all we talk is who that, who got cut and who back. Rookies and the vets, players you should look at. It's the sports coma, you don't wanna miss it. Got the pre-game party, post-game statistics. Get a visit from Sway, maybe DC or 5. It's the hottest thing smoking, Big Q and the guys. Go to YouTube Live, make sure you subscribe. Interviews inside the Saints locker room high. Talk to Drew, Jordan, Zach, Payton, New Orleans, who that nation. Best believe when I say we bleed gold and black. Ain't a miracle or rivalry could ever hold us back. No, Beastquake, Bounty Gate, let the truth be told. It's the sports coma, all we know is say Super Bowl. Yeah.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
That's right, Till. They can't stop us, baby. That's right, Till. They can't stop us. And you get no warning. It just drops like that. The weather's pretty bad out here. Family, is raining pretty bad out here. But guess what? We just fired up and come right back at you. Thank you. Thank you for coming back with us. We'll have a few of the family members dropped off the live stream as we was playing. Tori, who that to you? Jason, who that to you as well? Lori, good to see your family. Teal said the coldest intro on YouTube. Thank you, Teal. Appreciate you. And the fam. We back on, fam. So, like I said, we covered it like bits and pieces of what Mickey Mouse Loomis was saying with John DeSacer was pretty insightful before everything dropped out. And that was pretty much a summation. Interesting thought process on how the Saints handled the free agency and the fact that free agents were interested in coming to New Orleans. That's no surprise. Everybody know the reason why they want to come to New Orleans is because of the fact that the Saints are a Super Bowl contender and people want to win. And the Saints have gained the reputation of a winner. So it's not hard to enlist the work of these veterans who are looking to take it to the next level or stay on a certain level. So Mickey Loomis and John DeSacer gave us a lot of good information on that as well. Teal says, this the sports coma, all we know is. That's right, fam, all we know. All right, family, good to see the live stream. Like I said, apologize, family, for those jumping back on with us. The fact that we had a outage of some sort here that just dropped us out with no warning. So anyway, we're going to just get back to the story. Let me see if I can clue it up. The next item to talk about is the fact that Coach Payton had his little interview and he was talking about a bevy of different things. So family members, I'm going to at this time spend a little about Coach Payton as he talks about the upcoming season and just some interesting information. I ain't going to spend all of it because it's a long bit of it, but just some of it. Here's Coach Payton's thoughts on of the team going forward.
He was gushing.
Well, listen, it's kind of unusual. There's a free agent like Emmanuel, and I haven't met him yet. And, you know, we've had probably 2 or 3 meetings, most of the time to check in, any updates. You know, all of these guys are spread out. They're all kind of now getting into a workout routine, if you will. Some of them needed some equipment or maybe some small ticket items to help them with their training. And for the rookies, it's different. We're doing daily class sessions. For the veterans, though, I'm really just having them focus on getting in shape, taking care of their families. We had one today And today's was a little different, though. We had a guest today. Last weekend, obviously, there were 4 different players in our league that ran into trouble. And as a coach, just like a parent, you're always preaching. You're always telling them to make good decisions.
Yeah.
And so Snoop came on our WebEx meeting
Snoop
today.
D-O-double-G came on your Zoom?
Yeah, that West Coast Snoop was on our Zoom, and he was a special guest. He was outstanding. And, he spoke a lot about just the difference between an athlete and an entertainer and understanding the athlete's role relative to a league, to a bigger picture, to a team, to a league office, to an ownership group, whereas an entertainer is really just his brand, himself. And so he helped with that message. It was pretty good. And look, I couldn't read all the comments, but we had 114 people today on our team meeting, and he did a fantastic job.
So what do you mean the comments? Like in the
players chat, right away. And it's just funny when a recognizable figure like that joins the discussion, and you're just like, whoa.
That's pretty amazing. Snoop Dogg, that's not bad. Hey, what's the biggest challenge for you as this coach who wants to, always preach and always be involved? What's this, the COVID-19 struggle that you know a lot about personally, of course, having overcome it, and thank you for donating plasma like you do and being such a great example. What is the biggest challenge for you that you're facing right now?
I think, and it's not unique just to the Saints, but I think there's a lot of incomplete work relative to players' physicals, free agents that we've signed, rookies that we've drafted. I think we've done a good job of bringing the rookie class together, but trying to get them up to speed. I mean, we felt during the draft that this was going to be a year that would be challenging for a rookie player who maybe didn't learn as quickly as some others, because, he's missing, call it a semester or a spring of work. And then I think, me personally, I kind of like being around people, and I like going to work and being around other coaches and being in that environment where you're around your peers. And I'm kind of like a creature of habit. I like a schedule, all those things. And this, you just have so much quiet time and time to think, and it forces you to try to put together a plan. And there's a ton of requests for, hey, can you give our graduation a shout out? Can you do?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's homework. And all of a sudden I've got to make a list and check these boxes off. And so I think just dealing with that silence and the lack of interaction, if you will, that's been a big challenge.
So did you have to go in there and be like, hey, everybody, this is Jameis Winston, and then Jameis introduced himself and talked? What was that like?
Well, we handled it a little differently. One of my tech video guys, we kind of just put the pictures on a screen of all the new players. And it's hard with 100 and some people on. You certainly, all of us, I think, have become better listeners because there's that delay in communication. But yeah, we put the pictures up of the new players. I haven't done that yet with the rookies because I don't want them to get the abuse right away, like their first WebEx meeting. So I don't want it to be like Animal House.
That's nice. Can I see you, Coach?
So I think the players have handled it pretty well. I mean, I think they're all these guys are guys that will adjust and adapt. And look, we went through this in 2011 a little bit. There was a lockout. It was a different challenge, a much different challenge. But I think the future challenge for us, and we're all waiting on the league schedule, and I think there's a lot of people discussing, what's going to happen at the start of the season. And then all of us, all 32 teams, are quickly going to, get up to speed with those challenges and get ready to go. I think we are going to play games. I think the bigger question would be whether we're playing in front of a live audience.
How big of an advantage do you have, though, because you and Drew are so connected and have such chemistry, whereas you look at the NFC East, you look at a team in your division in Tampa Bay that's getting so much hype, and they haven't had that chemistry, those reps. They're doing it in limited, over the phone, over FaceTime. So it's not easy. So how big of an advantage do you have going into whatever this looks like?
Well, look, I think we have a veteran team, an experienced team. And I think when we went through this in 2011, we discussed this topic. I think it to some degree can benefit a veteran coaching staff and team that's been together a while. But I did happen to notice a Tampa Bay practice in a high school just 2 days ago, and I was proud of the Tampa Bay Parks Department for kicking Tom out of the recreational field.
Are you sure you didn't make that phone call, Coach?
Well, listen, I've got it on speed dial. But no, I think it does help the teams that have been together. Obviously, training camp will be like it always is, really important. I think the health and in reducing injuries as the early part of training camp takes place is going to be important because you've missed some time.
Yeah, love that. Coach, we all know you're a Jordan guy, so I have to ask you, in these Zoom meetings, have you brought up The Last Dance yet? Or are you thinking about how you're going to execute, how I am sure The Last Dance affected you personally?
Yeah, look, and you're from Chicago, but I grew up with that and remember I was a sophomore in college when he got drafted and can remember so many of those games. And yet when you watch this series and it just ended, and I kind of watched it religiously, 2 episodes a week, there were so many things that came up that I either had forgotten or maybe was unaware of. And so I thought it was fantastic. And there were so many things as a coach that you look at and recognize, the greatness of those teams. And then obviously the individual accomplishment by Michael himself. But no, this past off season, Mike Thomas is one of our Jordan brand representatives. And he wears a size 13, which is the same size shoe that I wear.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah, so we've always kind of had a little deal. If he gets a good touchdown pass or a good play in the red zone, the next week there'll be a pair of 13 Jordans. and we just have fun with this. But they keep coming. And then during the Super Bowl, Michael just built a course down in Florida, and I had a chance to tour it and really look at it's brand new. It's an invitational club. And, man, it was something else. And he was just finishing around, and I'd never met him. And the first thing he said was, you're wearing Jordans on game day.
You met him.
Huh? I did. And look, we get numb doing what we do. We're around people that are celebrity, if you will, whether they're actors or athletes. And we never take that for granted. And yet it was certainly for me, that's kind of a different level. But he said, I'm going to make you my first Jordan coach. And I was kind of like, huh? And sure enough, 2 weeks later, I get this email, and so it's Jumpman right now, and I didn't put any on.
Have you guys maintained? I know we know, Coach.
No,
are you guys like have you smoked like a stogie with him? Like how close?
No.
No. Have you?
I've met him a couple times. He's been real gracious, real friendly.
That's amazing.
And I can't imagine his schedule.
That's Coach Payton, man. That's some of the interview from Coach Payton with the multiple different things that Coach was talking about. The fact that he adding the Jordan-esque stuff to it. And it would be interesting, too, if he can get Jordan to come down there and talk to the team about winning. But man, a lot of interesting stuff for Coach and Mickey Loomis on those 2 interviews. Thank you for joining us, family members who rediscovered the second stream. The first one fell out. We had some internet issues, bad weather, but good to see a lot of the family members back in the stream. Lori Heckler, I see you, Lori. Who that to you, baby? Good to see you. Pablo, good to see you, Pablo. Been a while, man. True Louisiana, what's happening to your fam? I see you as well. And all the family members joining the live stream, Diehard Saints, Jason King, Dada, and the rest of the family members, Till, and the family chiming in. But that's interesting, man, as we keep moving forward. And, of course, we're going to hit the last topic of discussion, which is this one here. As we talked about this, and maybe this means something, perhaps it doesn't. Saints agreed to terms, and this was announced on the Saints website recently about Anthony Chiquillo. And we covered Chiquillo. We talked about him on the previous, I think it was the Thursday or the Friday stream. I forget sometime. It'd be so much I'd be doing. But anyway, Chiquillo is a guy that the Saints like a lot. He fits the Sean Payton type linebacker, a guy that can play special teams and then come and help out if he needs to be in a more active role. Now he's 6'3", 255. He was a 6th-round pick for the Steelers back in 2015 out of the University of Miami. He played 65 regular season games with 9 starts, also being a core special teams member. He recorded 89 tackles, 55 of which was solo. He had 7.5 sacks for loss of 59.5 yards, 3 passes defense, 3 fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries, 29 special team stops. He has coverage, forced fumble, a special teams fumble recovery, and a recovery of a block punt for a touchdown. Now, he's from Tampa. He played in 4 postseason contests with 1 special team stop during that time. And in 2019, he played 11 games for the Steelers. He had 11 tackles, 5 solo, a split sack, and 6 special teams tackles. Now, in 4 seasons with the Hurricanes, he started 47 of 50 games, recorded 170 tackles, 25 tackles for a loss, 15.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries, 5 pass defense. As a junior in 2013, he totaled a single season career high in tackles with 46 tackles, 7.5 for loss, and 3.5 sacks for Anthony Chiquillo. He also has the propensity or the ability to play that edge position, which could serve well. And I was saying to myself, perhaps this kid could be a guy that the Saints might use in reference of getting rid of guys like perhaps Craig Robinson, who they have. The guy can be a situational pass rusher. But the Saints have a lot of situational pass rushers on the team. The problem is none of them have done it consistently. You got a lot of potential guys that can potentially do it. But whether or not that it serves the purpose of doing it is something that they have yet to show us. The case in point, Noah Spence has a lot of talent, just couldn't consistently do it. Granderson has a lot of talent, all field issues prevented him from doing it. Trey Hendrickson has the potential to do it. Injuries have stalled him out. And I can go on and on. I guess you could throw Mario Edwards Jr., who I think he'll be on the bubble as well this year because of the emergence of guys like Shai Tuttle, Taylor Stallworth, of course, guys like Malcolm Roach, Gus Cumberlander, and a few other guys that look really interesting to the team. A guy like Mario Edwards Jr. could be in trouble, and Craig Robinson could be in trouble. So we'll see how that shakes as well. Damon Horton, who that to you, Damon? I see your family, much love to you. So we'll see how it works. So that's the thing to find out. But still, the Saints have that double-digit cap money available, and they basically signed a cheap contract with Chiquillo, and we'll see how it shakes, man. But he's a good special teams player, high-energy guy. Watch film on him. He looks good on film. He doesn't blow you away, but you can see he's an energy effort guy with a big heart that does everything he possibly can do to help the team win. So that's most interesting to talk about, to say the least. Now, okay, family members, get to the part of the show. We're going to open up the phone lines for family members who want to chime in and talk about it. Now, of course, I played several interviews from Mickey Mouse Loomis and Sean Payton, as well as you can hear some of the coach and Mickey talk about some interesting topics that I found interesting. I thought it was interesting Mickey Loomis to talk about the preparation of having this team to go through without the fact that the Saints are not able to see guys like they traditionally or customarily would do. So in that vein of things, you see, the Saints were able to get Emmanuel Sanders. They were able to bring back most of the guys that they're familiar with. And they did plug in some major areas of concern. Now, they had a solid draft and a very good undrafted period as well, which has been customary for the New Orleans organization. Being able to pick up guys in the undrafted ranks that can help the team out as well. Juwan Johnson, Marquez, the tight end from Tennessee, the wide receiver from Tennessee, and several other intriguing prospects, including Tony Jones Jr., the running back from Notre Dame. They picked him up. Ty Montgomery was an interesting signing as well. So I expect guys like Ty Montgomery to make an impact because he does serve 2 roles that can really help the team. One, he plays the running back position, and he catches the ball out the backfield. He's a pretty damn good blocker as well. And then he's a guy that you can shoot out to the slot position and play the slot. So it's like a lot of different weapons that you can use to help you get to that position. So what do you guys think about some of these signings, man, and some of the stuff that we played today on the show? What is your thought process on that? The live line is not activated. The live line is activated. Feel free to call in and ask your questions. Or do you have any questions, comments, or concerns that you want to vent out to the Great Saints Think Tank? Now is your opportunity to get on the line and talk to Big Q and the Great Saints Think Tank. The live line is 504-475-4482. Thank you for putting that in the chat, School. 504-475-4482. Call-in line is open for anybody can chime in and ask the question. 504-475-4482. Dada says, I agree, but I'm starting to think Griffin doesn't want to be here, or the Saints don't want him here. Till says, Big Q, you think the signing of this cheap linebacker defensive end is a result of us working on a contract for Alvin Kamara? Could be. Although I didn't hear anything about the Saints looking at giving Alvin Kamara the extension. Didn't see that much of it. Now, that's a possibility. But their stance has been a pretty low-key one based on that, Till, to be honest with you. Because I was thinking like you was thinking. I was like, why are they holding on to this money with these cheap signings, What is the next move? What is the next shoe to drop here? Could be Alvin Kamara's extension could be talked about. But then again, the stance for the Saints have not been a proactive one. You see what I'm saying? Thank you, Cheryl. Who that to you, baby? Thank you for your great and generous donation. Thank you, Cheryl. Who that for life, baby? Thank you. Appreciate you. Much love to you. Thank you. But as I was saying to you, Till, I do think that that's a portion based upon their current actions. They have not been proactive enough to even attack that. And that's the problem I've had with the Mickey Mouse and Sean Payton regime, is that they haven't been proactive, only except when it comes down to Drew Brees. When it comes down to Alvin Kamara and anybody else, they kind of play it by ear and say, well, those guys under contract. And when it comes to that point, we'll deal with it. So hopefully behind the scenes, they're working on something like that. But there has been no mention of them doing that. And actually, I say if any noise be made on the contract front, it probably would be from the agent of Alvin Kamara before it be the Saints. I'd be surprised if the Saints would be proactive here with Alvin Kamara. And you might want to take that stance going ahead with Alvin Kamara because you're after the draft. You didn't bring in him. Now, Tony Jones is an interesting back, but he's not Alvin Kamara. And Latavius Murray is an excellent back as well. But you don't have an Alvin Kamara-ish type of player. And then Sean Payton signed Ty Montgomery, who's not Alvin Kamara. He's a guy that can do a lot of stuff back there, but he's not Alvin Kamara. So that was the thing I was saying about when I was making the comments about the Saints. If you have a similar back, like if you have a north-south runner, they have Latavius Murray, Dwayne Washington. Why not have a similar back to Alvin Kamara? And of course, you can't find another Alvin Kamara exactly like you could find a Christian McCaffrey. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a back that's similar to him in terms of a guy that can catch it and run it, out of the backfield, that can still do a lot of the plays that Kamara does, just in case something happens to Kamara, like it happened to him last year when he was out several games, and then still injured during the season. So, that was the thought process. But I would not say that I'm not looking at the Saints taking that money and re-ing up with Alvin Kamara. They just have not been proactive on that front, to their discreditment, I think. That's a mistake. You got to lock down Kamara and make him happy, in my opinion, now that you're well beyond the draft now. And free agency is pretty much in the second layers of it, which there's not much depth as far as the running back position is concerned. But a lot of interesting factors out there. I heard that Jamal Adams is on the trade block. The Jets want a first and a third for him. And I'm like, damn, man. Damn. I'm like, man, I would love to have Jamal Adams like I wanted Kirkpatrick, like Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins. And only thing he did is went to Pittsburgh and led NFL in interceptions, the AFC in interceptions. So, it's interesting to see how things shake, and the only thing we can do is watch. But thanks for the question, Till. Much love to you, fam. Jeff Dyson says, yo, Q, what do you think? He says, what you think about us bringing in Alex Ogletree? Ogletree, to me, is a player. I would like to have Ogletree here. He does answer a lot of questions for the Saints. He's a guy that can get after the quarterback. He can play the position. Now he's a step or two slower than what I would like him to be, because he's dealt with injuries and stuff like that. But Ogletree's a player as well. And I'm just, for whatever reason, the Saints are avoiding the name guys. You know what? What's the problem with that? Why not address the player name? Golden, Griffin. If you don't like Griffin, Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews fit everything that Sean Payton liked in a linebacker. Why are we not looking at him? How did you go past all those guys and say, hey, Anthony Chiquillo, that's the guy we need? What? How do you go past all those guys to Anthony Chiquillo? That's the kind of rationale that I don't get. I don't understand. How do you look past Clay Matthews, who's effective? You got enough special team aces on this team. You got enough special team aces on his team. When did it get to the point that we said, let's get some name guys? They got a name because they do what the hell they supposed to do. Stop trying to take cheap shots on guys, and you're gambling. If you have 2 or 3 years with Drew Brees, you can gamble away. Well, that's pretty much what they did for his career after the Super Bowl. Is just they gambled. They didn't fix the defense like they were supposed to, and then they frivoled away a lot of his primetime years. Now you're sitting up with a 40-plus-year-old quarterback, and now you press to the gill in the final year of his season, he says, to be able to get it to the Super Bowl. If that's the case, stop effing around with unknown pass rushers and make something shake. That's my bottom take on it. Thank you for that, fam. Adam says, do you think they move on from Kamara? I don't think so, Adam. I think they stick to Kamara after the free. If they would have moved on from, the best time they've done it would have been prior to the draft. They didn't do it. They didn't solicit the trade. They just set on Alvin Kamara, which means that they intend on paying him, because the guy represents 60 to 70% of the offense. I just don't see them saying at the last moment we're going to trade Alvin Kamara away, unless they decide, hey, ultimately, we're going to have to pay him. When they got on and on and on, I said, man, it's time to pay him. When it got beyond the draft and free agency, oh, no, you got to pay him now. You got to pay him now. It makes no sense to try to trade him right now, because you had all those outstanding running backs that you could have picked up. There was Cam Akers, there was Swift, there was tons of running backs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There were plenty of guys out there that could have really served you. Now, instead of taking the cheap route, instead of saying, okay, it's going to cost too much money, let's get rid of Larry Warford and his $7-8 million and free him up and draft and put a rookie there. Why not get rid of Nick Eason? Nick Eason, you mean to tell me you're going to get rid of Larry Warford, who's a 3-time Pro Bowler, in 3 years he was here, but let Nick Eason stay on the team? And there are guys that can do his job. Cameron Thomas better than Nick Eason. And Nick Eason making $5 million a year for real, and you didn't do nothing about that yet? You didn't cut Nick Eason? Some stuff just doesn't make any sense to me number-wise. It don't make sense number-wise when you make a move to get rid of a 3-time Pro Bowler just to save $8 million, and you got a guy that's sitting his ass there who's a backup, who's not better than Cameron Thomas, in my opinion, who's making $5 million a year. Then you just signed Patrick Omameh for food stamps and coffee, and now you basically sitting on this other guy for $5 million. And many people agree with me on that, including Bob Rose, who also said Nick Eason is definitely going to get the next one to get the X chopped down on him. And that's the reality at the end of the day we got to face. It's just some things just don't make any sense. I don't see how you look past Everson Griffin, how you look past even Marcus Golden, how you look past Clay Matthews and say, man, Chiquillo, Anthony Chiquillo, man, let's get Chiquillo. It don't make no goddamn sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense. Maybe it's not supposed to. I don't know. Thank you for the question, Adam. Appreciate you. Who that to you, fam? Thank you. Derek Allison, what up, D? I see my dog, Derek. Much love to your family. Big ups to you, fam. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Jay Crack, what up, Jay Crack? Good to see you, fam. He says we will have a lot of good players getting out cut because we have a lot of players that can play multiple positions. Thank you, Jay Crack. I agree with you. We got multiple players. They have, in the undrafted guys, the majority of the undrafted offensive linemen play multiple positions. All of them, matter of fact. And one of them plays 3 positions. All of the positions. He plays tackle, guard, and center. I forgot the guy's name. Bob Rose told me his name on the show, last Saturday show, and I forgot it. Forgot the guy's name. But he played all positions in college. He played tackle, guard, and center. And I'm like, man, wow. It wasn't Steckler. It was the other guy. Let's see who that to the family. Javier, what up, Adam? Javier, I see your family. Who that to you as well? Adam says, yeah, I thought we'd bring in Matthews for sure, but there is something they don't like. I don't know what it. Rocky, what up, Rocky? Who that to you? I don't know what it could be because Clay Matthews is not demanding an arm and a leg. Throckmorton. Thank you, Jay. Jeff Dyson. Yep, Throckmorton. There you go. No, Scoop, it's not Adrian McGee, who has a good opportunity to make it too. It's Kelvin Throckmorton. Thank you, Jeffrey. That's the guy. He plays every position, tackle, guard, and center. And when you got guys like that, and he's a pretty good one too. You know, most of these guys that they have, these offensive linemen the Saints have, these guys have accolades. They're like second selection, big this, that, Big Ten, this, that. Like, wow. It just fell through the cracks this year. And the Saints have a stunning couple of offensive linemen, man, that are nasty. And you need to watch some tape on those guys too. They're pretty good. They can use a little cleaning up, but those guys are damn good. And for you to have a guy like Nick Easton make $5 million a year, it just don't make sense. You look past Clay Matthews and none of these guys and says, hey, man, let's get this Chiquillo guy. He'll help us win the Super Bowl on the special teams. Just don't make any sense. And for other guys, say Everson Griffin, you have Minnesota guys that's here on this team like Latavius Murray. They had Marcus Shrells. They signed him. Nick Easton's another guy. You had Zach Lyon here before he retired. And to me, if you look at it, I'm saying to myself, damn, Clay Matthews is not going to cost that much money. Marcus Golden probably $8 or $9 million, something like that. Everson Griffin probably that much, but a 1-year proven contract at this stage of the game with a contending team is very alluring, you know? And perhaps that's something we can study upon. And then there's also the thought process is that the brass just hadn't thought about it. Sometimes you're in a bubble and you think about guys that can help your team, and sometimes those guys get behind you. It's hard to imagine that if you're a brass player and you know that the Saints could use another edge rusher, that they don't think, oh man, Everson Griffin, the same guy that tore his ass up in the Minnesota playoff game last year. Everson Griffin, him and Daniil Hunter tore us up in a playoff game last year. He was the one sacking Drew Brees and breaking through the offensive line. So much so. Thank you, Crass. Appreciate your donation, family. Happy Memorial Day to you, family. Thank you. Appreciate the love. Thank you, Crass. Much love to your fam. And that's the funny thing about it. It's like you looking and you're like, man, how could you not miss Everson Griffin there? I mean, he tore your ass up in the playoffs last year. Every time he play you, he tear you up. He makes a statement every time he plays you. Every time. So how do you not think about Everson Griffin? He's not asking for $18 or $15 million. You can get Everson Griffin for between $10 to $8 million. He'll a 1-year prove-it deal that he line up opposite of Cam. And I'm like to myself, okay, the guy's impactful. And he's the reason why you got rid of your 3-time Pro Bowl left guard, right guard. Left guard, right guard. That's the reason. He's like, oh, Larry Warford got tore by the guys on the inside. We got to change them out. That was in large part, because of Everson Griffin. So, I mean, the money to me don't make, you got the money, even if you needed a few more million. What the hell you holding on to Nick Easton for? Seriously. So, I mean, we can analyze it from that perspective too, family. Let's see. What else we got here? McDowell says Chewbacca living with Wookiees does not make sense. Chewbacca living with Wookiees. Chewbacca is a Wookiee, fam. What you talking about? And I mean, I'm a Star Wars guy too, fam. So he says Chewbacca living with Wookiees does not make sense. Chewbacca is a Wookiee, fam. I mean, it does make sense if you think about it, because he is a Wookiee. Living with Wookiees, don't Wookiees live with Wookiees? I don't know, man. It's just an outside football question. Dada says AK 5 years, 62 million, 40 million guaranteed. Crass says thank you for your donation, Crass, as well. Scoop says 12 mil might not get it, but it would be great. Laura says we need him. I know, Laura. I know, baby. That's the issue though. When you get to a position where you have to think about the position of filling that edge rush position, because it's still open. It's still very much open. Scoop says, Q, Dan Rushaw makes a man out of wimps. He does. Rushaw is an excellent offensive lineman. I got to give it to him, man. He's an excellent offensive line coach, and he's been doing great work for the Saints for a while, man. So I definitely got to give credit to Rushaw, man. He's terrific, man. Really terrific. And he has a lot of clay with these guys. And just look at what he helped a guy like Larry Warford do, who wasn't a Pro Bowler until he got here. And he was a three-time Pro Bowler in the 3 years he was here. That's because of instruction from the Saints, who are some of the best who are, in my opinion, the best in the business. And when you get those guys that talent, it takes it to another level. Farouk Obasi, who that to you, Farouk? Good to see you in the chat as well, Farouk Obasi. Live lines open, family, 504-475-4482. 504-475-4482. Live line is open. We covered some news early on, several stories and stuff that we covered early on in the live stream. But now we covered the rest of the stories, and now we get to the part where the live line is open. So if you have any questions, concerns, or comments on the New Orleans Saints or things, or what you've seen in interviews, or what you heard, if you got questions, concerns, or whatever, please feel free to hit the chat up. Or the call line, the live line is open right now, so you can get your call in as well to the Great Saints Think Tank so you could be heard. 504-475-4482 is the live line. Glenn Witt, who that to you, Glenn? I see your family. Who that from Baker, Louisiana? Wow, okay. All right, Baker. Baker's in the building. Good to see you, fam. From Baker, just outside of, Baton Rouge, on the other side of Scotlandville. Am I right there, Glenn? Am I right, Glenn? That's on the other side of Baton Rouge. Let me see, Baton Rouge, Scotlandville, then Baker. Am I correct there, Glenn? Yeah, family. Kelvin, what up, Kelvin? Kelvin Washington from Phoenix, Arizona. What up, Kelvin? Good to see you in the chat, family. Much love to you as well. 504-475-4482. Live lines open, family. Feel free to call in and ask your question. But much really interesting thought on Alvin Kamara, 5 years, $62 million, $40 million guaranteed. And you look at the monstrous contract like a guy like Christian McCaffrey got, I don't know. It'll be close down to it. Okay. All right. All right, Glenn says, yes, sir, before you get to Zachary. Okay, that's what's up. All right, thank you, Glenn from Baker. That's much love to you. All right, let's see. Crash says, right outside of Scholarville, you got a Q. All right, thank you, Crash. Appreciate you, fam. Stu MC says, I'm not from Scotlandville. I'm from Scotland, man. Hope you're well. Okay, Stu. Thank you, Stu. Appreciate you. Good to see you in the chat as well. Who that to you, fam? One Crazy Who Dat. There you go, baby. Good to see you, One Crazy Who Dat from Easton, Pennsylvania. Easton, Pennsylvania. Now, let me ask you something, One Crazy Who Dat. Easton, Pennsylvania. Isn't that is that where Larry Holmes from? Is that where the Eastern Assassins from where you are? Thank you, Demi, for joining, becoming a member. Much love to you, Demi. Thank you for that, baby. Appreciate you. Much love to you. Is that Easton? Easton, where's Larry Holmes from? I won't say Easton. Is that Easton, Pennsylvania, the Eastern Assassin? Or that's somewhere else I'm thinking. I'm not. Maybe I'm just calling it out wrong. 504-475-4482. Live lines open for the family members to chime in and get their questions, concerns, or comments in the chat. Get it in the chat. Also, thank you, Crass. Hit the like button. Thank you, School, for what you're doing, posting. And Dada, thank you for putting the number up as well. Okay, One Crazy Who Dat says yes. That's right. The Eastern Assassin, baby. Larry Holmes from Easton, Pennsylvania. All right. One Crazy Who Dat. Who Dat to you, One Crazy Who Dat. Thank you for joining the live stream, my friend. Hit the subscribe button and join the Great Saints Think Tank family. Any family members that's in the chat who like the Saints, who love the Saints, and want to have some passionate conversation with a group of passionate people about the Saints, please feel free to join the Great Saints Think Tank, known as the Sports Coma, by hitting the like button and subscribing. Thank you. Thank you. Crass says, Q, you're correct again. Thank you, Crass. I'm a boxing man as well, man, and I remember the Eastern Assassin, man, one of my favorite heavyweight champions, man. And I often have arguments with a good friend of mine who we do a boxing show called Ring King's Boxing World. And off air, I used to have discussions about him. He's a former professional boxer in his own right. And we often talk about Larry Holmes and how Larry Holmes wasn't getting the credit that he deserved as being a solid champion. Because when he came on the scene, he was beating a lot of people. He was having some in one of his famous fights early on, and he fought a lot of people in the 70s when he fought and beat Muhammad Ali toward the end of his career. And I remember the quote that when he beat Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes said he just wanted to cut his hands off because he loved Muhammad Ali so much, and the referee wouldn't stop the fight, and he had to keep on going. And then it was an interesting story because later on, when he got older, Muhammad Ali was in the ring. You know, he got in the ring with Mike Tyson, who was to fight Larry Holmes that night. And Larry was older and toward the back end of his career. And Mike and embraced Muhammad Ali in the ring with him, and he wished him luck. And he told Mike Tyson to get him for me. And of course, Mike Tyson got him. He knocked Larry Holmes out in that fight. But the comment I always had with Too Mean is that, you know, goodness gracious, Larry Holmes came on the tail end of boxing when boxing was starting to take a kind of the heavyweight fights were going down. And then, you know, it kind of toward the back end, it rose when Tyson and a few other people came on the scene. That's when the heavyweight division had a resurgence. But during that lull, right after the super heavyweights of the 70s, Larry Holmes was the guy that was in that void fighting those fights. And me and him would often have conversation against the guys that he was fighting, saying that he wasn't fighting top-notch talent. Now, he fought a lot of really good boxers in his prime during that lull, but I think that's why Larry Holmes don't get that. He's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he gets that credit when people talk about heavyweight champions. They don't mention Larry Holmes in the bunch. They don't. They talk Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and people like that, but they don't mention Larry Holmes, and that's a shame. Just a little information on that. But thank you for that one crazy who that. Stu MC says, hey folks, is there any decent documentaries on the Saints in the past? I've watched docs on Pete Carroll, Shula, Bryant, Bear Bryant, University sports grad from Scotland. Hope you're all safe. Thank you for that question, Stu. And I don't know if to say of any documentaries. They do have, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up on the Saints. There are a couple of Bounty Gate ones that's out there that I've seen that was interesting. And a few perhaps reports that cover the background of Sean Payton that do him some service. And there's some few of them out there that kind of do like a docu report or something like that on a guy like Drew Brees and stuff like that, how he came up. So there are a few things that's out there, not some, like I seen one on Pete Carroll, like ESPN did one on Pete Carroll that I seen that was actually pretty nice, where it was documented his coaching career back at USC and other places. So there are a few of them out there. I don't know up to the caliber of the one that I seen like Pete Carroll and Shula. I don't know on that caliber, but there are a few ones out there. One crazy who that said, I met Larry twice. I wrestled at the same time youth center where he trained and when he was still champ. St. Anthony's Youth Center. Okay, thank you. One crazy who that. Let's see, 7 years champ. That's right. McDowell says, I don't know if we went over this already, but I have a question about Elvin Kamara. Why is she so hard to tackle? Why is he so hard to tackle? He's not big, but people just seem like they bounce off him. But he said bounce off him. But can you help me? Yeah, Rocky, I think I can answer that, family. He is, man, Elvin Kamara. A lot of people look at Kamara and think he's small and he's not strong. But if you go and look at the training footage that he was doing, training and getting ready for a season, you would not believe it. The type of balance drills that he does, the pulling trucks, stuff like that. He has an insane workout regimen that helps him with his field speed and his field strength. And then you watch footage of him, big 300-pound or 280-pound defensive linemen that get their mitts on Elvin Kamara, and he's able to run through their grasp like it's nothing. And if you look at his training footage, You just put in YouTube Alvin Kamara training, and it'll show you several videos of Alvin Kamara over the last several seasons doing these insane training rituals where he pulling trucks, where he doing balance drills and all of that stuff. He trains like it's really amazing how he trains, and it'll speak to you on how he's able to do what he's doing on the field. His stops and cuts, the balance, and it looked like he's not even running fast, but he's smoking all the guys chasing him. You got to give it to his insane workout. Even though Kamara, the guy really, he takes care of his body and he works out really hard. Take a look, Rocky. I'll point you to go, when the show's over with, go to YouTube and put in Alvin Kamara training, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. It's absolutely amazing what the kid does, and it'll explain to you why he can do what he do on the football field. Hope that helps you out. Thank you for the question, Rocky. Gundam says Joe Lewis, the Brown Bomber. Thank you, Brown Bomber. Thank you, Gundam. Glenn says Buster Douglas, where is he today? I don't know, Buster, the one-hit wonder. Rocky said I watched ESPN Deportes. Person to bring down one-on-one. They said Derrick Henry and didn't even mention Alvin Kamara, so that's why I asked the question before. But that's good. That's a fair question, Rocky. And Derrick Henry is a beast to bring down, because if you look at how he's built, he's top heavy. All of the strength is in the upper bottom. If you look at his legs, his legs is not really that big. He got like kind of, I ain't gonna say skinny legs, but you can see where the power is at with Derrick Henry, and he's good at running, his balance and his ability to use the stiff arm to keep you away from him, and he's very difficult to bring down. But Alvin Kamara is elusive. Alvin Kamara can run over you. He's shown, I've seen times when he ran over guys, and I've seen times when he ran around guys. I guess it just depends on how he feels at the time, but he's absolutely amazing. And that goes to his mentality and his workout. I mean, he's phenomenal, man. And that's why I said, if you got a back like Alvin Kamara and you decided to keep Kamara, then pay the man. You got to pay him. And hopefully the Saints get that together. Stu MC says, cheer, folks. Always good to engage with different culture perspectives. Thanks for the heads up. Thank you, Stu. Be safe out there, my friend. Much love to you. Appreciate you for joining us on the platform. All the way out from Scotland. Big ups to Stu. Thank you, Stu. Rocket says carrying refrigerator on his back and pulling in the truck. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that amazing? Rocket looking it up now. All right, let's see what else. Scoop says core and strength, insane balance, all that. He's just a phenomenal person. Timothy, who that to you, Timothy? Good to see you. Demi says I'm off to Popeyes to celebrate. All right, Demi. Rocket says, what do you think about the chances that Jameis Winston is our quarterback for the next 8 years or so? Hard to say that, Rocky. Hard to say on him, because the reality at the end of the day is that it depends on Jameis Winston. He has the talent. He has the arm. He has all the attributes in terms of field work. But when it comes to leading a team of men, he's failed on that. Now, he can throw the ball, he can make all the passes, but I've always said the issue with Jameis is up here. He has to get this and organize this in place. And I think being with the Saints could help him do that. In 1 year, I will say that if he's willing to be a vessel and learn what Drew is teaching him, or just follow his example, I think he can be a lights out quarterback. He's 26 years old. And the possibility is, if you're thinking about Jameis Winston and a guy like Taysom Hill as the potential starters, Jameis has an advantage over Taysom, being that he's been playing for the last 5 years. Now, that's taking nothing away from Taysom. But Jameis Winston, if his mind is right and he's absorbed and he had the type of transformation that Teddy Bridgewater had, there is no reason why I would not see Jameis Winston at least winning the quarterback situation next year. And I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people, that I'm saying that Jameis Winston could be your quarterback next year. But if Drew Brees is not here and Jameis takes on and learn and has a transformation where he takes Drew Brees' principles and his routine and put it into his own, that's the only thing that's an issue with Jameis Winston, is that his discipline and his mindset. And if Drew has that, Drew has the mindset and the discipline. And the fact that Jameis, who already looks up to Drew, sits behind Drew in a learning capacity and learns that aspect of the team, the aspect of that from Drew and incorporate into his games, there is no doubt in my mind that he could take the reins as the quarterback next year. No doubt about it. And that's why I would say, what would be the mindset of the Saints bringing Jameis Winston, a 26-year-old quarterback, to compete as a backup with Taysom Hill there? This guy's a former first-round draft pick who's had some really good seasons, who has the talent, who's seasoned, who just need that discipline aspect, and that changes everything. So if he can have a similar, like a Teddy Bridgewater transformation, how he learned from Drew, and do that, because remember, we talked about this on the show, the fact that Jameis had a conversation with Teddy Bridgewater before he decided to sign with the Saints. Now, at first, I was against the signing of Jameis Winston, simply because of the fact that I looked at Jameis as somewhat dysfunctional. But if he said in his interviews that he is willing and learning and anxious to sit behind Drew Brees and learn from Drew Brees, and he learns that, man, do you not understand what kind of skill you have with Jameis Winston, who has all that already, but the discipline and mental aspect of it. If he gets that together, I don't see why you wouldn't want him, because for real, he would stay. He would sign a cheap ass deal to come back next year, and it would be like the Teddy Bridgewater situation, but even better. This would be it'll be like the Teddy Bridgewater situation, but a better an upgrade, because Winston is better than Bridgewater in my book. The only thing that's the problem is getting this together. And you learn from Drew Brees, who's a Hall of Famer, in the time that he's here, and he gets it and gets his routine together. There is no reason why he can't be the quarterback next year. And I don't think Taysom Hill can stop him. I just with everything that he's done, he's more of a credible quarterback than Taysom. And I love Taysom, but I think Taysom, and I'm going to say this again, I think Taysom's being set up to fail. That's what I think. I think Taysom's being set up to fail. So what you mean by that, Q? I think Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill, but I'm saying that if you really wanted Taysom to be the quarterback, you would have to start it, cut down his wide receiver duty and get him ready to be a quarterback. You cannot learn how to be a quarterback in the wide receiver room. I'm sorry, you can't. Now, he won't be a tight end this year because the Saints drafted a guy that fits that bill, so you can eliminate him from being a tight end. But now you would probably see him as wide receiver and some running back and some quarterback. But most of the time with the Taysom Hill packages, you and I know that out of the Taysom Hill packages, 80% of the time, or even higher than that, 90% of the time, he runs out of the package. When you put him back there behind the center, what does he do? Snap the ball and run. So, I mean, it's like you cannot learn the quarterback position as a wide receiver or running back. The only way you can do that is if you're actually in the quarterback room, absorbing all of the knowledge, like Jameis Winston will be, and Winston will have the upper leg over him, because of the fact that he'll be in the running. He's already has the experience factor as being a quarterback at a high level for the last 5 years of playing a lot of the reputations as quarterback over the last 5 years. And then he has the respect as a former first overall pick, by the way. And like I said, people sleeping on it, but Jameis Winston learns from Drew Brees and has a transformation like Teddy Bridgewater does. This could be better than Teddy Bridgewater, because he's better than Teddy Bridgewater. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Think about it. One crazy hoop that say the Saints are the only franchise that have two QBs on the same team that are all-time passing leaders for a franchise. Drew for the Saints, Winston for the Bucks. Good statement, one crazy who that. Who that to you, Boss Hog? I see you, family. Much love to you. I see you there. Much love to you as well. Yeah, Rocket says a strong arm. No doubt about it. Jameis Winston beats Teddy Bridgewater on every statistical measurement except for the discipline and turning the ball over, which is big because Teddy Bridgewater holds on to the ball, but he doesn't turn the ball over. Like, he'll hold on to the ball and collect a sack when he don't see nothing, which annoys me, but he won't fumble or turn the ball. You see what I'm saying? He'll take the sack but he won't turn the ball over. So you just be a loss of down and you lose some yards there. But Jameis Winston, if he can learn that from Drew in one season, like Teddy Bridgewater learned when he learned in one season, man, this whole QB situation could take a different look in the future. Just be ever mindful of that, family. I know a lot of people don't like Jameis. I ain't like him. I ain't like how he slammed Cam's face in the ground when he got up that time. I ain't like the fact that he pushed Marshawn Lattimore's in the back of his helmet when he was suspended that game, or I think he was thrown out of the game, whatever. But he wasn't even eligible to play in that game. But he pushed his back of his helmet, and Marshawn turned around to confront him, and then he gets speared by Evans. I didn't like that. And those type of scenarios made me not want him around here. But he's a Saint now. And the reality now is it could be a possibility that this guy could be the future quarterback. Like I said, this is very interesting why the Saints would take a stance and get a 26-year-old quarterback. I was thinking about them going for a guy like Mike Glennon or a guy like Joe Flacco, a guy that's a veteran quarterback who just can steady the team with Drew gone, just an old savvy veteran, like a Luke McCown type, just to keep the position. So if something happened to Drew, you got a guy that could play for a couple of games if you need him to, if you don't put Taysom there. That's what I was looking for. But instead, the Saints pulled a okadoke and put a 26-year-old former overall first-round draft pick QB, highly regarded out of Florida State, who's from a division rival to come here to back and learn behind Drew Brees. This could be something in the works here. Boss Hawk says Jameis is better QB than Teddy. Is definitely just getting his mental right. I think he's working on that. He's humble and taking the approach to stand behind Drew he respects and looks up to. I'm with you on that, Boss Hawk. I'm with you, Boss Hawk. 100%, because that's right. That's right and exact. You know, that's the thing. He is humbled, and that's a really good statement, is that he was humbled by the fact that he lost his position, because the Buccaneers could have kept him for cheap and had him to play behind Tom Brady. But they made the decision to get rid of him. They could have kept him because he wanted to stay. But the mere fact that he coming to the Saints means that he want a little revenge too. You see what I'm saying? And for the fact that the Saints getting a 26-year-old quarterback with all that experience, and all he needs is the discipline, and Drew Brees is already a great mentor, and the Saints got a friendly QB system, man, I'm saying it's all on him, man. It really is. Thank you, Boss Hall. Sheets Trove says 1.1 mil for 1 year. I want to learn it. Let's see. Cressa, Jameis could be that guy after Breeze. The tools are there. A year of learning, studying will do him a ton of good. Remember, the most of that thank you for that too, family. And thank you for Crass. And that's a great point as well, because if you think about it, that's what he'll do, is sit behind Drew and hold a clipboard. You know, he'll watch Drew work out, and Drew will be like, listen, man, let's do this. And every quarterback that Drew had an opportunity to play with that was a veteran that wanted to learn the job, they've gotten better because of Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill, who was a utility type quarterback when he was in college. But look what happened when he got with Drew Brees. He was, ever since he's been here, having all those injuries concerns in college and with Green Bay, he gets here, has not been injured. Why? He said that in the interview, that is because of Drew Brees. Drew Brees lended him his trainers, and his trainers got his body together where he can play this physical style of football that we love Taysom Hill for doing. And that he accredited Drew Brees for that. So if Drew could do that for Teddy, if Drew could do that for Taysom, he can do that for Jameis, who's a lot more talented than a lot of people are giving credit to. And a lot of people upset at him, like I was upset with him, because of what he did, like I said, about slamming Cam's face on the ground when he was getting up and stuff like that. Don't make me like you, but he's a Saint now, and he's going through a bit of retribution, perhaps a little reciprocity in there. But at the end of the day, if he's willing to learn, and he is willing to learn and open himself up to take an instruction for Drew, man, the sky's the limit for Jameis Winston. He'll finally realize his potential in the truest sense and dominate. And I can say to myself, what if Cam Newton was there as well? Could you imagine having Cam Newton? But see, I would prefer to have Jameis over Cam, or should I say Glam Newton, because I don't think Glam Newton's head's there for the football. You know, he's all into the fashion and stuff like that. I don't see that with Jameis. You know, I don't see all that with Jameis, the distraction of all that. He still is very talented. So if we had to go between both of them, I think we got the better of the bunch. Thanks for that comment. One crazy dude that said, I hated Winston, but I knew signing him was a smart move. Thank you. Let's see. Rocket says, what's going on with Cam Newton? Nobody has signed him. Oh, you think teams are waiting for midseason or during the season injury to sign him? The Chargers were looking at him and quite recently, and we don't know if anything's going to become of that. But I would probably get behind that and agree that when the training camps get ready to start, between training camps and the start of the regular season, expect to see Cam Newton if he's healthy, because the issue is health with Cam Newton. A lot of people still are pretty scared of him because of his foot and his shoulder. First, it was his foot, and then there's still an issue with the shoulder from what I'm finding out about as well. So I think that's a part of it to it as well. So we'll see how it shakes. But I anticipate Cam Newton, if he's healthy, he'll find a spot to play. No doubt about it. He's just too talented not to. But it's healthy. Health is an issue that is scaring teams off of Cam Newton right now. It's issues about his foot and issues about his shoulder. That's the issue with Cam Newton, not his talent. Is he healthy enough to play? Because remember, when he took that shot on his shoulder, he hadn't been the same. And plus, he had that issue with his foot. He can't plant and throw within the shoulder. So he got a lot of issues that a lot of people are staying clear of because of that. So we'll see. It's murky on the physicals, but as the season get close to him, we'll see. He should be able to catch on and get a job with somebody. We'll see. Thank you for the question, Rocky. Let's see. Laura says, we will crush Brady. Thank you. Trail Hatch, who that to you, Trail? I see you, family. Laura says, Winston will be the future. He has the arm. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate you. Jermaine says, Teddy will not be doing the chopper style in the Carolina locker room. No, I don't think so. Be a tough day for Carolina. A lot of rookies. First team I ever known to take the whole defense, take a draft and draft the entire defense. I've never seen that happen before. I don't know if that's ever happened, but the Carolina Panthers used their entire draft on all defensive players, which means you got a lot of rookies on that defense, and that's a lot of learning to do. So I'm not expecting Carolina to be a player next year, but maybe in the second year, look out. But the Saints have to step up. That's why the future is bright for the Saints. If you can transition from Drew to a Jameis Winston and have Jameis Winston with just half of a Drew Brees mentality, the Saints can carry on their winning ways for the next 5 years, while drafting a quarterback to sit behind him eventually and then carrying that forward. So I think the Saints have done a pretty sneaky good job of solving the quarterback future problem, and probably can get him for a cheap contract too. Very sneaky and ingenious by Mickey Loomis and the Saints brass. I got to give him credit for that. Let's see. When the game says Winston will be our Doug Williams. Thank you, family. Appreciate you. Who that to you? And thank you for joining the live stream. And for the family members, because I'm seeing a couple of tags in there I've never seen before. If you're not a member of the Great Saints Think Tank family, please feel free to hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button, and I'll shout you out as well. Thank you. Jeff Dyson says, hey, Q, out of our undrafted free agents, which one you think has the better chance to make the team? One offense, one defense. Well, a lot of people will say, yeah, they like the wide receivers. Like the guy, Marquez from Tennessee. I like him a lot. I think he has a real good chance of making a team. But, I like Tony Jones Jr. too. I really do. But when you add Ty Montgomery in there, it kind of gets a little dicey then. But if I'm forced to choose an offensive player to make the team, and you're looking at wide receivers, I think Marquez, the kid out of Tennessee, I like him a lot. Tall kid, has speed, and if you watch his footage, he specialized in going up and getting contested footballs, ripping the ball down with people and cornerbacks draped all over him, making difficult and tough catches, not afraid, fearless mentality. Love that kid. No disrespect to Juwan Johnson, the kid out of Oregon, but Marquez is a guy that I really like a lot. He's terrific. And there you go. Thank you, Sufain. Let's see. Sufain. I hope I got that right, family. Thank you for joining the Great Saints Think Tank. Much love to you. Appreciate you. That's one guy I think that makes the team. Also, I give you another offensive guy that I really do think that makes the team, and that's that big offensive lineman, Throckmorton. I like Throckmorton a lot. He can play tackle, guard, and center, and he is a big guy, has skill, and it'll be interesting to see that I really like him a lot too on the offensive line, big Throckmorton. and the kid Marquez from Tennessee. Now, as far as defense is concerned, no doubt about it in my mind, and Bob Rose said this when he was on the show, that he likes the kid, what's his name, Gus Cumberlander. He liked Gus Cumberlander. He's 6'7", 250 pounds, big old defensive lineman, has some speed to him. He's interesting, but my favorite guy that I like as far as the defensive guys are concerned is linebacker from Michigan State, Joe Bessie. Joe Bessie, to me, out of the defense, has an opportunity to make the team because of the fact that you need playmakers behind our customary guys, Demario Davis, Alex Anzalone. You got Kiko Alonso, who probably won't be ready until way later in the season after coming off his injuries. And you have Zach Bond, who's a rookie. So it's open. Craig Robertson is there. But I think this is the year where probably Craig's going to have a little difficulty making a team because of guys that's coming in like Chiquillo is another interesting. But Joe Bessie, I really like that kid. Joe Bessie, to me, shines out because I call him the poor man's Luke Kuechly. That's what Joe Bessie is to me. He doesn't have all the speed in the world, but he has football instincts. He's smart, and he always is around the football. And once he puts his mitts on you, you're not going to get away from him. I like Joe Bessie, so I gave you 3 of them right there. Thank you for the question. All right, let's keep it going there. Trail says, I think if Aaron Rodgers becomes available, it's hard to see Sean Payton not going after him. Very interesting stuff, man. You never know how this stuff shakes out, Tramal says Cam Newton wants to walk the runaway. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His mind's on fashion right now, and that's the issue. And plus, there's a lot of questions pertaining to him with his foot and his shoulder. And I think that's the main reason why the man don't have a team right now. He's not healthy. Jeff says, hey, Q out of the... Okay, I answered that one. Thank you for the question, Jeff. Appreciate that. Sheets Trove says mental health. Yeah, with Jameis, it's a major thing, his mental health. And we'll see if he can get the help. But that's the thing about the Saints. Guys come here, they love the culture. And once you get in the culture, it's a family dynamic. And that's because of it's the way the city is, the region, or the Great Saints think tank and the Black and Gold Nation is. The reason why teams or players love coming here and would take less money to come in and play for the Saints is not just because of the winning. Because like Big Malcolm Brown said when he signed the contract, when he left New England behind to come to the Saints, he was winning Super Bowls. He won 2 Super Bowls up there. One in his first year, and then a couple of years ago they won one when Malcolm Brown got 2 Super Bowl rings. He left that situation to come to New Orleans because, in his words, it looked like those guys were having fun. He wanted to have fun. The Saints have fun and they win in games, and that is the great thing about it. And then the fans are another element that takes it to another level. Like if we losing, we meet you at the airport in the rain and wish you well. Players want to play for guys and people like that. In the rain pouring down, the fans out there with umbrellas and signs well wishing the players off the plane, and then standing at the entrance of the airline facility while it's pouring down raining, wishing the team well as they pull. That do something to you, man. That do something to you as a player. Say, damn, man, they doing that for us. They love us, man. We got to step it up and play. That's what it is. And the culture of the city, the vibe of the city, the energy of the city behind the Saints is the perfect harmony. It's the perfect rhythm between the players and the team. That's why the team is so loved, and players love to come down here because of that intense vibe, that harmony aspect of it. And I just think he's one of the players could have a similar transition like Teddy Bridgewater did. So, I mean, I can't put it down on Jameis Winston. I'm going to love watching him go through the transition, though, to be honest with you. He's just going to sit there and hold the clipboard and take notes from Drew Brees. That's terrific. I love it. Rocket says, how about healthy Cam Newton played wide receiver? That's a scary thought, don't you think? Yeah, it would, because Cam, you can put him, you can do different things with Cam, but the issue with Cam is like he has that superstar mentality of what he's going to be willing to do. And I don't know if Cam would be willing to do that. And Cam he's a physical brute already. I've often said if Cam Newton's mind is right, you can't stop him. And I've seen games when the Saints played the Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton had it on his mind that you will not beat him. And it would take the whole defensive line for the Saints to stop him from getting touchdowns. I mean, they were on goal line situations that could not stop Cam Newton from taking off and getting he would drag defenders, shake people. I mean, he was fantastic when he's healthy. And if he was healthy, that's the case, he would definitely have a team. A Scoop says, I'm spoiled with a QB who reads defense fast and gets the ball out. No Aaron Rodgers fuss, please. Derek says, Roger wouldn't fit our locker room. He doesn't fit the culture either, but you never know. Andrea, what up, Andrea? How you doing? Says, first time to see you live. I'm a real New Orleans Saints fan. I feel like if we don't win the Super Bowl, is Drew Brees and Sean Payton era tarnished? Great question, Andrea, and thank you for joining us here on the Great Saints Think Tank. We are a group of passionate Saints family members talking about the Saints, so please feel free to join us. Hit the subscribe button, and every Saturday and throughout the week we have really good, interesting discussions on the Saints. Thank you for that fantastic question. But I don't think it's tarnished. I don't think it's tarnished because Drew is going to go into the Hall of Fame as a quarterback, and Sean Payton, when his time is up, I really do think Sean Payton is going to go into the Hall of Fame too as a coach because of all the things that he's did over his time. Plus, he has that Super Bowl ring. So I think Sean goes into the Super Bowl when his time is up, and definitely Drew is already there. He just needs to retire and let the time run out so he can get up in there. But no, I don't think it's tarnished that if they don't win the Super Bowl this year. But I'm of the mindset of a lot of people, it wouldn't be tarnished, but it would be a shame. It would be a shame that they didn't win at least another Super Bowl because the Saints have basically squandered Drew's his prime years. Were not filling out the rest of the team defensively, special teams wise, and the likes. Screwing around all those years. We should have had multiple Super Bowls. So a lot of people saying, yeah, Q, I can get behind you on that. I think that Sean Payton should have had at least 2 or 3 Super Bowls, not just one. The Saints have been a top 5 offensive team, a top 10 offensive team for the last several years. For over 10 years, the Saints were inside of the top 10 as far as offense is concerned. We did a video not too long ago saying that the Saints a top 10 defense. We do that type of video every year. Last year, they were ranked 11th. But the special teams, the secondary, was ranked in the 20s, the 22nd or 23rd, whatever it was. But the rush defense was ranked as number 4. So I don't think it's tarnished. But I do think it would be a shame if the Saints don't win a Super Bowl this year because Drew Brees and Sean Payton together broke all kind of records. And you mean to tell me all it was good for was winning one Super Bowl and taking out all those records, that you couldn't put multiple Super Bowls together? And that's the problem. Now, after Drew is gone, Sean Payton then has the problem to figure out how can he overcome that, because truth be told, the closest he's going to get to winning the Super Bowl is this year. If they go to Jameis Winston next year, let's say the team drops just a bit, because it's hard to put somebody up on Drew's level. Drew runs this offense and like he knows it like the back of his hand. So he's still deadly accurate. He has the most talented team, in my opinion, that he's played with, giving him Emmanuel Sanders, who's a severe upgrade over Ted Ginn Jr., next to Mike Thomas, who's still there. Then you add Jared Cook, who's healthy. You got Josh Hill playing him. You got the 3 tight ends set back, with Troutman there. So you have a fantastic tight end set back. You have the offensive line refilled with youth looking good. The defense still need a pass rusher and another veteran cornerback, in my opinion. But the back end, Malcolm Jenkins comes back, makes him beautiful, makes him a lot more smarter on the back end. Janoris Jenkins is happy with his remade deal. He's makes them smarter, along with Marshawn Lattimore, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and the rest of and Marcus Williams, who should learn from Jenkins. So, like I was saying, the Saints have talent anywhere, few pieces left to upgrade to get them at and over that level. But no, I don't say they're tarnished, but I do say it would be a shame if they don't win, because they should have had at least 2 Super Bowls, in my opinion, at least 3 of them right now, including 2 years ago when they lost to the Rams, last year when they lost to the Minnesota Vikings. The Saints, that was on the Saints. They didn't play those games like they were supposed to. They weren't ready to play football. They were doing out of character things. They were not focused. Whatever the case may have been, they wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. And they should have won at least the last 2 of Super Bowls in the last 2 or 3 years. No doubt about it, in my opinion. They came woefully close. The Minnesota game, they were one game to get into the NFC Championship against the Philadelphia Eagles, who I think they would have beat, so they could take on the Patriots. The next year, when they had the Ram debacle, if they had beat the Rams that game, they would have went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And then, of course, last year, the Minnesota, they didn't even get out the wild card round. So at least 2 of the last 3 years, the Saints should have won Super Bowls. No doubts about it. Thank you for the question, Andrea. Appreciate you. And who that to you. Timothy He says we're gonna cut Easton and keep McGee. I hope they get rid of Easton because to me he's making way too much money, and they have a lot of better people. And Adrian McGee from LSU is really good. I like Big Kelvin Throckmorton. I like him. Stecker is another dude that's pretty good. You still have Cameron Tom. You still have guys like Pat Omame, who they signed for 3 food stamps and 2 beers. So they got him on the staff. So you don't need all that, man. Ramsey, who that to you? Ramsey, I see your family. Thank you. Glenn says, I love Marquez Callaway. Is really a good kickoff return. That's Stu. Great point, Glenn. Great point. He is also a special teams guy, too. Made his bones as a special teams guy at Tennessee. But Marquez is the type of dude that has good size, 6'2", 6'3" size, has good speed. He ain't going to set the track field on fire, but he can get away from you. He's a multi-talented wide receiver, and Sean Payton loves big, fast wide receivers that can catch. This kid could be a steal. He could be a steal. Thank you for that, Glenn. Crass said Roaches from Baton Rouge. Yeah, I heard about that. Thank you for that, Crass. Trail says, number 1 was good. Okay, I see. Timothy says McGee is from Franklinton. Got a lot of local guys on the team. That's good, man, because they'll play extra hard in front of their family members. I love that. Let's see. Scoop says Joe Pesci is a Bill Romanowski type. Wow, that's a good comparison too. Bill Romanowski without all the dirtiness, because Bill Romanowski, boy, was he a dirty ass player, but he was fierce. Though. I got to give it to you. Let's see. Derek says, don't forget to like. Thank you, Derek. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and goose the notification bell. Share all platforms. Stop by the pro shop. Pick up some fire. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate you putting that out there. Glenn says, imagine. Hold on. Let me get back to you. Glenn has skipped on you. Let's see here. What was I at? Let's see. Kind of skipped on me there. All right. Ramsey says I'm all for the players having a fun locker room, but get rid of the damn ping pong. Remember, I was blasting away of that the entire playoffs. The last game of the season of 2019. Like I said, y'all can go back and listen to this stuff. We have the family members. They went over the playlist and did a great job in reorganizing the content on the page, the YouTube page. And they made the playlist a lot easier to find certain content. And they took the entire summation of the 2019 Saints season and put it into a playlist. And that includes preseason games and regular season games, both previews and post-game reports that are in the 2019 Saints playlist that's on the YouTube page. And you can go back and watch the reports, the last game of the season, and you can literally hear me on there yelling and talking about take the goddamn pool tables out of there because we get ready for the playoffs. But we noticed when I would play the interviews that they'll be playing ping pong and Zelda and Crash Brothers and all that kind of foolishness. In the background, I was like, man, that's most disturbing to me that they didn't remove all that stuff out of there. And it just really got on my nerves. And look what happened. All right, we got a call coming in, family. Let's see who's giving the call. What's up, family? Thanks for calling Sports Coma. Who I'm speaking with?
What you say about it, Q?
What up, brother Paul? How you feeling there?
Oh, I'm doing great. You messing with a sore I've been wanting to scratch for a long, long time.
Okay.
You talking about why the Saints haven't won a Super Bowl? What did you start that for? You should have never started that.
Well, Andrea asked me, would it be tarnished? Would the reputations of Drew Brees and Sean Payton working together be tarnished by the fact that they don't win the Super Bowl this year? And I'll say no, it wouldn't be tarnished. But what it would be a shame that they would win the Super Bowl.
If they don't win another one,
right,
I would have posed a question like that.
Right.
You know.
Right. But that's what I agree upon. That the Saints, and I just referenced that by saying the last two of the last 3 seasons, the Saints should have been in the Super Bowl at least and should have won at least 2 of the last 3. Brother Paul, you look at the Minnesota game, they just had to beat the Vikings to get to the Eagles in the NFC Championship 3 years ago. And they could have beat the Eagles. The Eagles wasn't nothing for the Saints to walk through, and they would have got the Patriots that year. Then 2 years ago with the Ram debacle, had we have not played flawed football, had Dan Arnold, the tight end for the Saints, caught the football, we would have ultimately went on to win the game despite the no call toward the end of the game. That if we'd have beat the Rams, we would have went on to the Super Bowl because that was the NFC Championship matchup. We'd have went to the Super
You
Bowl.
want to know why, Keith? You want to know why? You through with your point?
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Paul.
I don't mean to cut you off, but you saying this is just bringing up old memories of Saints ghosts from the past. You remember coulda, woulda, shoulda. Who said that?
Wasn't that Jim Mora that said that, or Jim
That was
Finks?
Jim Morris said that, but he was talking about the 49ers, that game. We could have won, we should have won, we would have won.
I remember
And
that.
see, the Saints are the tourists. You see, I'm a historian. You just started me up now. I can go all the way back. The Saints, I'm going to say something. Y'all got on your seatbelts?
We ready for
Because
you.
I got to go. Can I just get right in the middle of this? I won't take too long, but I just got to say this, Q.
Okay.
The Saints have not developed a quarterback that can do it all since Archie Manning. I know somebody fell out, somebody ran off highway. Well, I said it, that's right here with me. The Saints have not had a quarterback that could scramble, throw on the run, make something happen out of nothing since Archie Manning. And that's sad, Q. That's really sad. Then we get down to the Dave Wilson years and Babe Loftenberg. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
that was
no.
terrible.
Yeah,
You remember that. You remember that.
Yeah, man.
And thank
Terrible.
God for Bobby Hebert. But I wish Bobby was around to hear this. Bobby Hebert's career was severely hampered with the Saints offense because how you going to have the Cajun bomber, the Cajun cannon, Q, and you had no speed receiver to throw the ball deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You had an offensive coordinator named Carl Smith that didn't believe in throwing the deep ball. He believed in running the ball.
He was
and
terrible.
throw when you had to. And Jim Moore, even when he first got in this thing, for Occidental, wasn't Jim Moore a defensive coordinator when he started his coaching career in college? If I'm not, my memory fails me.
Jim Mora Jr.?
No, senior. Did he start off his career defensive coordinator?
I think he did. I forgot which college he came from. I want to say it was out west somewhere.
I know he went to Occidental, but I don't know if that's where he started his coaching career. I'm not real sure. But Q, we go way back now. That's a long time ago. So with Carl Smith, Q, even if I didn't know something about offense, I would at least put it and look, hey, Carl, I need you to do better than this. But he totally let Carl Smith run the offense into the ground. And when they did get people like Quinn Early and all that, Q, Bobby was about worn out because all you had was Eric Martin. Same with Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, like a broken record. You wear out your good stuff, and then you never add nothing to it, Q. How you going to win consistent?
Yeah.
How you going to win consistent? We had Dalton here, we had John Tice, and we had bits and pieces, but the offense was never put together because Carl Smith was satisfied with just getting by. And you could only get by so long, Q. And that's why the Saints had limited success, even with the Dog Patrol. Because if you can remember, Q, if it wasn't for the defense, even then, making a strip sack fumble, Ricky Jackson making a key hit, Saints getting a safety, and I can't forget Martin Anderson. If it wasn't for Martin Anderson, Q, winning a ton of games in the last second, with them field goals, there's a whole lot of games we wouldn't have won.
You're absolutely right, Brother Paul. And that's why Carl Smith was terrible. He was very predictable. Very predictable.
Yeah, he was.
And he didn't believe in stretching the field, and that's why I didn't like Carl Smith that much, and I'm glad he was gone. But while you was talking, I was able to look up Jim Mora, and he started his head coaching with Ox. He was an assistant coach with Occidental from 61 to 63. Then he took the job 64 to 66. Then he became a linebackers coach, and he was the head coach of Occidental from 64 to 66. Then in 67, he went to Stanford and was the linebackers coach. 68 to 73 was the defensive ends, linebackers, and defensive backs coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. Then in 74, he went to UCLA. Then he went to UCLA in 74, became a linebackers coach. He went to Washington, the Huskies, in 74 to 77, which was when I was pulling them up. And I remember him being defensive coordinator back in there from 74 to 77. He was a coordinator for the Huskies, and then he jumped to the league.
Exactly. That's the college team I'm forgetting, Q. I appreciate that. The Washington Huskies.
He went to Seattle. Then he jumped to the league, the NFL, 78
Uh-huh.
to 81. He was the defensive line coach for Seattle. Then he went to the Patriots in 82, defensive line coach.
Wow.
Then he went to Philadelphia and the Baltimore USFL teams. 83 to 85, he was the head coach there. Then he went to the Saints from 86 to 96 for 10 years. Then he did a stint with the Colts and retired.
Notice, defense. Mora never coached on the offensive side of the ball.
That's correct.
So, and we can't hold that against him, Q. That was just his thing,
Right.
You know. But still at all, you know, I see a lot of shadows of Jim Mora and Sean Payton. You know, I had to swing it from the past to the future, and this is where we're at now. The Saints have not, to me, they still got a question mark. They still have not solved the quarterback position. Because I'm going to tell you this, I don't think, it's just my own personal opinion, I don't think Jameis Winston is going to be as serviceable as Teddy Bridgewater was. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll be glad to admit to it. I'll come on the show and admit it. But I just really don't think. What you think, you?
But serviceable, Brother Paul, means just normal, barely average. You don't think he'll be average?
Well, maybe that's a bad choice of word, but Teddy Bridgewater, I tell you what, he didn't go out there scrambling, throwing the ball 90-yard bombs and all that, hooking and shaking and baking and all that flea flicking.
He's more conservative.
But he didn't lose the game for us.
No,
he didn't lose that game.
No, it's a major difference between. And first of all, let me address your points about the Saints not developing a quarterback. You're absolutely right. The Saints have not. In the last time I remember the Saints drafting a quarterback, like an actual quarterback to be a quarterback, was Garrett. Remember Grayson? They drafted him, and he was pathetic. They couldn't get him to do nothing. He was just awful.
He couldn't grasp the offense. You can't get Sean Payton's offensive terminology down pat Q. You ain't gonna make it as a quarterback. You can forget it.
That's true. But that's the point why I'm thinking that the Saints were hesitant in going after rookie quarterbacks to develop them and run, as opposed to going find quarterbacks that have some experience and then try to get them to get into the Saints QB friendly system. Now, as far as Teddy Bridgewater is concerned, your point about Teddy Bridgewater, he's a different type of quarterback from Jameis Winston. Now, I think Jameis Winston overall is a better talent. He's a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater's mindset is conservative. He's a very conservative-minded quarterback. You know, he does know he's known. He's not a gambler type of quarterback like Jameis is. Jameis has a lot of gambler in him. He's the exact opposite of Teddy Bridgewater as far as that concerned. But Jameis has the talent to pull that off. And I'm saying that it's easier for the Saints to develop Jameis Winston, who's already developed. His skills are already there. The issue with Jameis Winston is he has to learn the Saints system, which is QB friendly, which I think he can, and it's the discipline edge of keeping himself under control and learning how to be a leader of men. Now, what better example do you have in the NFL to teach him that, if not Drew Brees? And he's not going to be called upon to do nothing if we're fortunate, because I really do think that if something happens to Drew, God forbid, that Taysom Hill should be the guy that gets in there over Jameis Winston. Hopefully that's the case. But Jameis Winston, to me, could be the guy that takes the reins in the future, simply because if he can become what Teddy Bridgewater became when Teddy learned the system, and just do half of the preparation and mentality, just half of what Drew Brees has to offer. If he just sucks up half of it, it will help him out in tremendous ways. Now, I know a lot of people not sold on Jameis Winston because they're thinking about dysfunctional Jameis Winston, because he never had to sit behind nobody and learn nothing. Just think about that for a second. So I do agree with you on the fact that the Saints have not developed quarterbacks through the draft, but they right. But that's a whole.
Archie could do it all, Q. He didn't have nothing to help. I mean, he's supposed to play. Archie take off, try to get something. Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right. That's the last time it's happened. But the Saints' mentality has not been recently to go out and draft quarterbacks, even though we want them to get the quarterbacks and groom a quarterback behind. The Saints' mentality has been to go and get veteran quarterbacks that are 4 or 5 years. It's the Jameis Winston scenario that we're seeing right now is almost the exact same thing Teddy Bridgewater was when the Saints gave up a third round draft pick to get him, and he was 4 or 5 years old. The same amount of time. The same amount of time that Jameis Winston. It's the same situation minus you didn't do a trade to get him. You didn't send a third round draft pick to get him. So that's why I'm saying, in my mentality, if they can strike gold once right there, and this guy's just going to be sitting behind Drew, learning. And my thing, I think Drew Brees comes back for another year. I still say that Jameis is not going to take. If Drew retires, then you got to look at that. But my opinion is, I don't think Drew retires. I don't think Drew relinquished the helm with Tom Brady sitting over there.
Tom Brady had to come to the division too. I believe Drew might have hung it up after this year, but Tom Brady come over, just stirred him up, just provoked him to play another 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
I really believe that.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Drew Brees did not play 20-something years of football to put those records high. He's a legacy man. He comes off with this Boy Scout nonsense, but a lot of that you see peeled away last year, Brother Paul, when he was hurt and he was sitting on the sideline chewing that gun hard. You didn't have nobody within 5 yards away from him. I'm telling you. And Drew Brees wasn't with 5 or 10 yards around nobody. He was standing there by himself, upset, jerking and moving his pads thousands of times over and stuff.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't used to that, Q. He had played all that time, never got hurt, and I think some of that brought up someone when he got hurt in San Diego. I think that made him a real angry. And I can kind of understand it to a certain point. I mean, you think about your career, man. He could have broke his thumb and said, hey, you can't play anymore, Drew,
Right. But you, like I said, you're saying it absolutely right. And we are seeing some stuff. But see, that's a part of when you somewhere for so long. Bill Parcells is his mentor. And one of these shows, I'm going to pull up the interview with Bill Parcells, says about staying with one team too long. That's why he never stayed long with most teams.
That is so true.
Bill Parcells said that. He said because your scheme gets stale and stuff gets stale and this kind of stuff happens. But Sean Payton didn't listen to his mentor, Bill Parcells, on that. He's been here for a long time. But to his credit, Sean Payton was able to bring motivators in to motivate and keep a fresh outtake while keeping things fun, keeping the players motivated to play, which is translated in massive amounts of success in the regular season. But when the playoff comes, you need to come back. You need to cut all them the pool tables and all that other nonsense out and sink in.
Well, you're right, Q, because with Sean Payton get to the playoffs, it's really no more different than Jim Moore and having them cave-ins and getting knocked out.
Yeah.
You can't continue that. And, and then, too, like I said, the quarterback, I mean, this is just Saints history. Mm-hmm. When Bobby held out that year because Sphinx didn't want to pay him that $1.1 or that $2 million, what did they do? They went and got Steve Walsh, mortgaged half the draft again, and we didn't know years later they just put up a whole draft for Ricky Williams. But my point is, Steve Walsh was just terrible. He was up and down, so inconsistent. So they stomached that. The next year, they were so glad to get Bobby back in the uniform, they didn't know what to do. So Bobby kept on playing for a little while. Okay, when Bobby went off the scene, the Saints didn't get nobody to take his place. You had Wade Wilson.
Jim Everett. You throw Jim Everett in there?
You better say it, you.
All over the hill.
Kramer, the old washed up for Minnesota. Both of him and Wade Wilson were playing with each other in Minnesota.
Yep.
I'm like, come on.
All of them over the hill. And they had a few guys you could throw in there too that was young guys that didn't have a chance. And you throw in guys like Mike Buck and the rest of those guys that were there. It just was
drinking, right.
It was some bad.
He was some kid to Kerry Collins.
Oh man, and Kerry Collins had potential, but he just couldn't stay out the quarters, and I think that's what really kind of hurt him.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So the Saints really have a history of this, Q, of not getting out their way on the quarterback position. And they really kicking the can. Q, that can going to have so many dents in it. This is going to be unreal. Because you're going to be looking at 3 years, Drew has got to retire. He can't play till he's 50. And then you have not drafted or developed nobody to take his place. And that's going to really, really hurt the Saints offense. I mean, you can have your lineman, you can get your running back, you can get your wide receiver. But Q, if you ain't got the brains of the operation, which is the quarterback, to navigate and circumvent all this, how is your offense going to function? What you think?
I mean, it's a great point. It takes a lot. I mean, because the mentality. I mean, and I give credit. Sean Payton for a lot because he is not, and I document this all the time, and if y'all heard me say this before about him having the mock funerals, the mock voodoo, hiring the voodoo priestess several times to come in and perform rituals to chase them. Remember that? And then having mock funerals bearing the form of the ghosts of the saints and stuff like that. See, that's a unique philosophy and mindset that's above more than just what a football coach is, which is borderline as high a level intelligence. Because in order for you to build something that and separate it from the failures of the past, you have to some kind of way kill it in the minds of the people so you can have a renovation period, a revigoration period moving forward, almost like a rebirth period. There have to be a conclusion to the death cycle or to the disagreeable or the end cycle for it to have. Like, say, for instance, you can't build brand new houses in the middle of a neighborhood that's on fire. That don't make no sense. You got to wait for all the fire. You got to put the fire out before you can start building again. And I think that's a good portion of what Sean Payton did to kind of disconnect from the losing culture of the Saints, and even then changing the uniforms to a degree where you can see it's a noticeable difference in errors between then and now. And then, and that's a part of it, why he's had so much immense success in the Saints uniform, more so than any other coach. Now, prior to him, the winningest coach you had was Jim Mora. Not because you didn't have really good coaches, but they were lacking something. When you come into an environment where the team is perpetually and consistently losing, it's not just the team mindset you got to overcome. The whole fan base is tainted because their whole mindset is tainted with the losing. So you got to basically do away with all of the losing, both in the team. The whole environment has to be changed before you can build a new environment of winning and sustainability. And that's what Sean Payton did, and that's why he's been having so much immense success in the regular season.
If you look at it, Jim Moore had an outstanding staff. Think about it. You had Jim Skipper was the running back coach. You had John Peace was the defensive line coach. Yep. You had Steve Sidwell was the defensive coordinator. Yep. So you had people around him. Steve Walters, wide receiver coach. You had people around him that knew football, on there too. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, Wade Phillips on there too, didn't you?
Sure did.
He was a defensive coordinator of the Dome Patrol. Wade Phillips.
He was a defensive assistant.
Yeah.
See, you know, and then, like I said, as a coach, if you got people around you that know what they're doing, see, that's what, you know, I think Sean Payton is really doing himself a disservice. First of all, let me go say this. Whoever the voodoo priestess is, he need to have an audience with her to get that hex off his 3 years of fair in the playoff with this crazy play calling. And he need to get that fixed. You know, I don't know what she can put together to get his brain to think that, you know, you don't do reverse on 4th and 1 and take your 10-yard back and think you're gonna convert.
I agree with you on that. That's pushing it too far. Now, if you want to pull that off in the regular season, that's fine. Right. But the mere fact that you don't even do that in the regular season and you do that in the playoffs is just in my opinion, that you detach from reality doing stuff like that. You have to be able to, and I'm saying I don't want to take too many gambles in the playoffs. You don't need to take gambles in the playoffs if you dominate the teams the way you're supposed to. If you have a normal game plan where you can run in both lines, if your offensive line is dominating the opposition's defensive line, and your defensive line is dominating the opposition's offensive line, you're going to win the game anyway because ain't nowhere for them to hide. You've beaten them. You've beaten them on the line. Once you dominate the line of scrimmage, you're going 99% of the times you're going to win. I would say 100% of the times. If you dominate in both lines 100% of the times, you will win the game. And the issue with the Saints is we have not done that.
Look, I never forget, Q. You did that when you did the live broadcast. And you sitting there, you like, this don't make no sense. Run the ball. What are y'all doing? Q, you know, like I said, I've been around you, bitches, yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. You were so pissed, pardon my friend.
Yeah, I was.
I had never seen you that upset. You like, oh, you kidding me? You know, why are y'all playing like this? Like the longer, like I said, the longer the game with, the further with. Like I said, the Saints really, the offense really gets going to the fourth quarter. Q, that was some of that old Jim Mora, Mike Dicker crap on offense. Come on, man. And the defense just got tired, Q. They just couldn't play the whole 3 hours and they're not getting no help. You know what I mean?
That's the part of it, is that the offense got to help the defense, because the defense the defense has to help the offense as well with flash plays. Now we got flash plays where you got to run the ball. The ball runs the clock. It keeps the defense off the field and they get the breaks that they need. But getting third and getting 3 and out and forcing your defense to get back on the field is a recipe for disaster. And that's why the focus, you have to run the football so you can work the clock.
You got to. And I remember the Davis Murray, they were showing the camera on him, man. I could see he on the sideline. He was so mad. He could have just spit bullets, man. Why? I'm not playing. I could tell it. He was so mad. Mm-hmm. You know. And Alvin coming out there, knee wasn't 100%. And Alvin just didn't have that burst cue. He didn't have that spunk. He just didn't get it.
But see, that's the point of being a head coach. Now, you get a lot of the pluses and the minuses too. Now, if you usually have constructive criticism, and I'm not above constructive criticism, and neither should they be. You know, nobody got it totally figured out. But it was a great suggestion to have that if Alvin Kamara is not showing Kamara-esque ability like we're accustomed to seeing, then put Latavius Murray in there. Why? Because Latavius Murray was motivated to beat his former team in the playoffs. We could have
just couldn't get in.
We couldn't get in there. Couldn't get in there to do nothing. And you have to be able to you have to play the hot hand. Ride the hot hand. And Sean Payton should have rolled Taysom Hill a little bit more in that game, because Taysom Hill almost won the game for the Saints later on in it, because he had the big play that got him down the field there, and then the next play you had Drew turned around and turned the ball over. So, I mean, like I said, it comes down to it where the Saints have to be able to kind of look at what happened over the last 3 years and understand that a lot of it was self-perpetuated, because the last 3 years, the Saints have dominated the regular season. But we have to look at it from a psychological aspect, because the same talent is there. Why are we not getting to the higher levels? Because we're not becoming fundamental in the playoffs. It's almost like we have a mental block when we get to the playoffs, and we're not sinking in, we're not focusing in, we're not doing what we're supposed to do, which got us there. And that's really alarming. That 3 years running, the Saints really could and should have had 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. Even the media, who usually regularly over the last 5 or 6 years, didn't pick the Saints to be in the Super Bowl. But they were picking the Saints because they recognized the talent of the team and how dominant the Saints have been over the regular season. And it should have been the same in the postseason, but it just didn't translate that. And I think a lot of that was due to the fact that the Saints had a lot of self-imposed problems, fumbling, turnovers, not dominating individual matchups, all that.
Fussing on the sideline.
When you ever seen the Saints fussing on the sideline in the playoff games? That's when that was a bad sign right there, man, when I seen that happen. And I was thinking that they would clean it up and make the adjustments, but no adjustments came. You had P.J. Williams out there guarding Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph pushed off on him. The NFL didn't make the call. And just like I was like, well, that's what happens when you let the game stay close. The referees are going to cheat you. And it's a shame that it's like that, but that's been the case. They have been targeting the Saints, and they've been targeting the Saints. And if that didn't show you that, well, I mean, that's the bad side. The good side is they cheat. Yes, we know they cheat. But you can still beat they cheating ass by dominating the games and getting out front of these teams, which that removes the referees out of the game. That's how you beat them. And we beat them over the last 3 years doing that recipe, beating them that way and winning that many games. Because trust me, they were trying to stop the Saints from winning games last year in the regular season to try to stop us from getting there. We still got there, but when you play close like that and play to the level of your opposition, the referees get involved and they help the opposition win these games. So I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not the case, that the NFL is not cheating. Of course, hell yeah. If you ain't ever heard a show where you had a guy sit here and say, yeah, he a Saints man, he watching NFL football. Yes, they cheat. They cheat all the freaking time because it's a money pit for them in the playoffs. They get there and they want certain teams to make it there because of the market, because of the big market. They wanted the Rams that year when they cheated the Saints. With the Saints were supposed to win that game. The guy didn't make the call. that would have helped the Saints get the position need to kick the field goal, win the game. If the guy the Saints would have caught the touchdown, Dan Arnold, the Saints would have probably ultimately won that game. So it's the bad calls all around.
You were Jackie Smith on that play.
Telling you.
Sure.
And the Minnesota game 3 years ago down in Minnesota, the Minnesota Miracle game, wasn't the fact that the Saints, why was that play called toward the end of the game when they should have had a prevent defense in there? If they had had a prevent defense, he would have stopped Stephon Diggs. He would have got tackled short. The game would have been over. Why was that suspect defense called? You see what I'm saying? The shooting in the foot on your own time.
Garner Johnson on Diggs. That play probably would have never happened, Q. And you see, you do with me like that, Q. You probably, I don't know if you remember the Atlanta game in the Dome. Jim Mora. I can still see Michael Haynes catching that short out pass. Milton Mack was hot on his trail, and him and Sam Mills collided, and Vincent Glenn just couldn't get him. Had too much speed, touchdown.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you keep the game close. So, Q, the Saints are winning that game, man.
Yeah, and that's a shame because I remember that play. Yeah. And Michael Haynes burned the Saints for wins many times. So did Andre Rison. Andre Rison would eat the Saints' lunch when him and Michael Haynes. Michael Haynes was the compliment receiver to Andre Rison, and Rison would eat their lunch every time they played down there. You had Chris Miller throwing the ball, and then ultimately he was there. Then when they came in with the Michael Vick years, you had Rison and all those dudes, and then later on, so like I said, Flipper Anderson, and he used to happen to the Saints all the time with Jerry Rice, with Johnny Taylor with San Francisco, where they'll kill him, and then you go over there to the Rams with Flipper Anderson and Aaron Cox when they was doing what they was doing, and so on and so forth. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. So
because you had people like Antonio Gibson, which is Marcus Williams, didn't have no speed. Toy Cook didn't have no speed. He could hit, but Q, if it got to a foot race, Toy Cook was toast. He wasn't catch nobody.
That guy was, I want to say he was a 5'5" guy. I want to say he was like a 5.3. I mean, he had no skill. He could tackle, but he had no speed. He was out of favor in any. We dealt with that type of crap for a long time because the Saints felt like the scheme was solid. You can have a certain scheme set up, and then you play the zone or whatnot and all this kind of stuff to hide the discrepancies in your talentless players who don't have the ability, don't have the closing speed necessary. But today's NFL, you got to have guys with closing speed. You got to have guys set up, and you can't hide the discrepancies no more with schematics. You got to have skill because the NFL is that much schematic.
That's why I said a few months ago we were talking. That's why it's Marcus Williams and P.J. Williams. This is their last chance. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins ain't going to be able to cover them, Q. They're going to have to stand on their own 2 feet and make some plays. If they don't, then to me, they either need to be benched or if they make it, or they need to be cut. I mean, you just can't keep doing this, Q. You just really can't.
Well,
because you start in your locker room when you have a player knowing game after game, we can't count on this guy because if we get in clutch time, he's going to cost us the game. He does it every time. It causes problems after a while.
I still say at the end of the day, when we bring it ahead, that I think a lot of the stuff that's going on with the black and gold with the Saints this year is going to change. And I'm saying that so far is because and I've said this before, it's nothing new, the finality of the situation, meaning that Sean Payton is recognizing that Drew Brees' time grows near for him to retire. He signed a contract with NBC or whoever it was for him to sign on to be an analyst. So this has to spark something in the minds of the coaches. Say, look, it's now or never.
That's true, Q.
And it will be now.
Wives want him to come on the kids. That's going to start pulling on him at some point, too.
Exactly.
You know?
So that's what I'm saying. It comes a time, like you said, the family aspect is a part of it. The fact that he's gotten away with playing the game, he can basically walk away a healthy man when many people can't say that. The fact that now Sean Payton has to recognize that his playing time grows near, and the fact that he has to run the ball because next year he will be forced to run the ball because you would have to need the running attack as well to help you, whoever your new quarterback will be. I'd still say it'd be Drew. But still in all, but his age, the finality of the situation forces me to say that Sean Payton has to run the ball, which is a part of the changes of the offensive line up the center. You don't just change up the center of the offensive line like that and disrupt the center and quarterback exchange that McCoy and Breeze had working on. That's a very interesting thing that you have to account for. But the Saints have Ruiz there. They move McCoy to guard that we were thinking about. You have Ramczyk there. You re-up with Pete. So my point is they have to run the ball to help your 40-plus-year-old quarterback out. So that's why I'm saying it's going to come that time when we're going to run the ball. So when we look back at it, the issue with Sean Payton is the running of the ball, and I think that'll be taken care of this year. I think the Saints will be fine. I just want them to be over the top in terms of getting an edge rusher that can come in there and help the team is like an Everson Griffin. That would answer some serious problems and push the team to a point where ain't no doubt about it that they Super Bowl contenders because they've solved basically every issue. So that's why I'm so high on them this year, like I am every year, because they're at that pinnacle.
It's do or die, Q. It really is do or die.
That's right, Paul.
Yeah, like you said, it ain't 5 years no more, Q. I say it's at least about 3. It's closing fast, man.
Well, the thing is, too, Jameis Winston is a big part of it. Him and Taysom Hill's also a big part of it. So I still say the future is bright. But if you're talking about winning Super Bowls, your chance to win Super Bowls would not be as high as it would be in the next 3 or 4 years unless you have your Hall of Fame quarterback who's mastered the system, who has a telekinesis with his coach. And I think if you add the running game, which I believe they will, I really do believe that, 95 to 96%, I believe that they're actually going to run that ball a lot more than what they did last year and use that. I really do think that. That's why I'm saying the bitter taste of the last 3 years of playoff failures. The Minnesota game last year, when you lost to a team you were better than in a humiliating fashion in front of your team, that's got to add up to something. And it's 3 straight years of this. You don't think they pissed and that we're focused. And then the fact that Drew's his time is getting short. He's getting older. And the team is ever so hungry. And they just decimating the regular season. No doubt about it in my mind. That the playoffs, they have to prove. The only thing left to prove for the Saints is that they're a playoff team in terms of winning the playoffs, getting in the playoffs, and dominating like they did in the regular season. That's the thing they have to prove to themselves to do because they have not done that as of recent. Now, they did get to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago against the Rams and fell through because they had their issues as well. But it gets to a point where you have to take the culmination of the last 3 years and say to yourself, man, we've been getting our ass kicked in these last 3 years, not because those teams are better than us, it's because we're doing it to ourselves. And I think this is the year when they overcome a lot of that and they get that second Super Bowl.
Well, you know what, Q? Like I said, you were talking, I was just thinking, Buford Jordan said something I'll never forget. Buford Jordan said, it comes a point in time that a player has to have the heart and desire for himself. You can only coach him so much, you can only tell him so much, you can only teach him so much. It has to be something in that player's gut that say, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'll be the biggest guy, the fastest guy, whatever, but I'm going to go out here and give it the best that I can. And that's all you can ask for a player, Q.
That's all you can ask for him. That's right. That's all you can ask for him to give. But I agree with that too. Buford Jordan said you got, and the Saints do put their players in the position, but I just want them to be more balanced with the uses of Alvin Kamara. You don't have to give Kamara that much, have him in the backfield as much. The usage of the fullback, because Sean Payton keeps a fullback on the team, and that fullback needs to be utilized a lot more. The institution of the power I formation needs to be brought back, and I think it will, because if you go back and think about the last time the Saints had 3 viable tight ends on their team at the same time, that brings the power I formation back in pack. I remember I was cutting up and raising hell during the regular season about having the power I formation brought back into the team, and then all of a sudden the Saints still started running the power I formation. So, I mean, it's a lot to make mention of, man. But at the end of the day, I still say that they're going to make it happen. Big up to Jay Sticks Jefferson. I see a Jay Sticks Jefferson in the building as well. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this, man. Look, I feel like Archie, man, and me and you, Jim Henderson, on one of them old Saints games, man. I tell you, we do that tonight. But you know what, Q?
Moore believes in ball control here with Carl Smith, but at this point in Drew's career, I think Sean Payton need to go to more of a ball control offense. I mean, it's not just be so vanilla and so predictable, you know what I mean, but kind of slow it down because he can't go out there and throw 35, 40 times a game. Q, you can't look for those 300-400 yard passes in a game from Drew. He's not going to be able to do it, Q. And you think all the hits he's going to be getting. So them defenses going to be licking their chops at him, you know.
That's true, but let's not forget about the fact that the Saints have the propensity and the ability to be able to do the extended running plays as well. When they can turn and then fire the ball or do an extended handoff, which is basically a short pass. The Saints do that a lot too. The subject to kind of add to the running attack, the short passing game, where there's a short dump off to Alvin Kamara in space. He generates 3 or 4 yards based upon his talent in the Saints blocking schemes. Now, if you look at some of the talent
that's the thing, too. The Saints offensive line they played terrible in the 49er game that we lost. They were terrible in the Atlanta game that we lost, and they were terrible in the Viking game. And that was that lane blitz or something that was tearing up, that was stopping the run. I forgot the name of it, slips me. But Minnesota was gap blitzing. I think that's what they called it. Yeah. And Saints didn't have an answer for the whole game, Q. Couldn't do nothing.
Yeah, the zone running scheme is the same. Is that what the Falcons was using on the Saints, and also the 49ers was using the same thing? The Saints are susceptible to that. When you have big offensive linemen that can move and they run by, that's what the Minnesota Vikings was using a lot of, running and having success with it, with Cooks in the game and even his backup. So the Saints have to be able to overcome that, because that's a major weakness that the 49ers and the Vikings and Falcons used to success to win those games. Those teams were the teams that beat the Saints and who had only 3 seasons and 3 losses during the regular season. Of course, they lost to the Rams, which was a fluke loss because of the fact that Drew got hurt in that game. The Saints almost could have came back and still won that game, but we're going to leave that alone. But that you're right on that. The Saints have to overcome that. But still in all, I still say that this is the case where you get more athletic and you have to be able to have these mean interior. And the Saints are very mean on the defensive interior. And that's what I love when you got guys like Shai Tuttle, Taylor Stallworth, you got big Malcolm Roach coming in there, and most of these other guys, even Marcus Hunt. If you watch footage on Marcus Hunt, he plays inside out, and he's a very difficult guy to block. Big guy, 6'8", 280 pounds, who can move around, bats balls around, can also have some athletic ability. If you watch, he can play.
Jones, number 2, I hope.
He could play a part if he makes the team. So that's a part of it. It's what I'm saying, man. At the end of the day, we got to figure out the issue to the Saints situation and getting through the playoffs is fundamental football in the playoffs is key. No turnovers, dominating your individual matchups, then winning as a team, winning on the offensive line, beating their defensive line, beating their offensive line from your defensive line, and not committing turnovers, not making mistakes, allowing your opponent to make mistakes for you to help you win the game. That's who gets through to the playoffs. The most disciplined teams who are not accustomed to making mistakes in the most dreaded of times in the game is the reason why a lot of those really good playoff teams have that success. The 49ers of Joe Montana day, when they were winning Super Bowls and having deep playoff runs, they weren't turning the ball over and they were executing their offense to perfection in the playoffs. I don't see why the Saints can't have that to happen for them this year. Now remember, the Saints was doing all that they did with the top 5, top 10 offense that they was doing with a half-ass offense. And what I mean by half-ass offense, Mike Thomas was catching all the passes. Jared Cook was catching the passes when he was there. And Alvin Kamara was catching the passes and running the ball when he was there. That's 3 players, not including Drew Brees, who was operating the Saints' top 5, top 10 offense for the last several seasons. Now, be that as it may, prior to Jared Cook getting here.
Here and there, you know.
That's right. You bring him in his minimal contribution. But if you look at prior to Jared Cook signing here, the Saints did it by committee for the tight end position. So I say that to say this. Fast forward to today. You have Mike Thomas on one side, Emmanuel Sanders on the other side. You have Jared Cook, who's healthy. Josh Hill is there. Troutman, who was picked up by the Saints, who is going to play in the system. Then factor in Taysom Hill, who's going to play wide receiver in the slot. Now, Ty Montgomery is interesting because if he's healthy, he makes the team, in my opinion. And he does, and he makes the team over Dwayne Washington. Why, Q? Because he has the ability. He can play special teams as you need him. He can line up as a running back in the backfield. He can also be a tight end, and he's a hell of a blocker. So he can line up in the slot for you and help you as a slot man as well.
So if the guy, the kid can do all that.
I'm saying Ty Montgomery is a special signing because, like, you have guys late in the free agency cycle that come along. Montgomery helps the Saints in areas where they need help at. He can line up in the slot and help you as a slot man, which the Saints don't have a true slot man. Montgomery can help that. He has no fear of running across the middle. He can catch. He's physical. He runs the ball. He plays running back. The guy plays special teams. He helps you all over the place. So I say that to say this. You have all these weapons. Now, I didn't even mention Elvin Kamara. I didn't even mention that he helps. But I didn't mention Kamara. I didn't mention Latavius Murray. But you add all of these pieces together, not to mention guys like Marquez Callaway, who I believe makes the team as well. So you have all these other pieces along with Deontay Harris, who's going to play more into the offense as well. Then I forgot to say Taysom Hill. No, I mentioned Taysom Hill. You have all that going for you this year. There is absolutely no way that when the Saints are functioning on a high level and they're healthy, there is no way you can guard against all of those weapons. This is probably going to be the most talented team that Drew Brees has ever fielded before, because Sanders is the perfect complement to Michael Thomas. You can't triple and double team and double team Mike Thomas anymore. You got to respect Sanders. Then the fact that you got to respect Jared Cook on the inside. The Saints can run 2 tight end sets now, or 3 tight end sets now that can help them, because all 3 of those guys can catch the ball. You have Ty Montgomery, who should make the team, who can come out and line up as a slot. He can play a running back in a position. He can play at the same time Kamara plays. Then Taysom Hill's running around out of there. I mean, there is absolutely no way that this team is the most talented Saint team, offensively speaking, that you're going to ever see. So if any time you talking Super Bowls here, this is the year.
That's true, Q. But as you were saying that, I was thinking, man, the Saints got so many packages they could throw. You could have Kamara out there, you could have Taysom Hill, and throw Stevens out there. They wouldn't know defense wouldn't know what to do. Who's going to guard? You don't know what's going to happen.
Stevens is another dude that I didn't make. If the Saints have, they have weapons all over the place is what I'm saying. And it was well grafted in the offense. We haven't any doubt. But I'm saying, look at what they did with just Thomas, Kamara, Cook, and Drew over the last several seasons. Now you had a guy. Imagine if Emmanuel Sanders was here for the last couple of years in place of Ted Ginn Jr. Do you not understand what could have happened when the Saints had their full repertoire of wide receivers available? I'm saying that to say that the talent here, this is Pro Bowl shit going on right here. This is Super Bowl stuff going on right here. The only issue is can anything, Brother Paul, the offense is straight. The only issue here is in terms of talent on the teams, is can the Saints get to the quarterback? The question is, can they get to the quarterback? And number 2, can they overcome the ghosts of the playoff past, meaning the Minnesota Miracle, meaning the debacle in the Dome with the Rams, and the nightmare that happened last year in the Dome where the Saints didn't even show up to play the Minnesota Vikings. Can they overcome the ghost of the playoff? Perhaps Sean Payton need to go and find that voodoo priestess that he used and bring her back here during the playoffs and do a ritual to run the demons out of there, because they keep coming back in the playoffs.
His offensive genius, that's went by the wayside a whole lot over the years. I don't know if he's getting all-timers or on Thorazine or what. But, sometimes Sean Payton be standing there like he's in another world. Like, I'm supposed to be coaching? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, when he need to give it over to Pete Carmichael and him call some plays, and we won't have all that pressure. What you think?
It's a part of it. I don't think he relinquishes his duties. I would love to see Sean Payton relinquish those duties, because I think that it'll be better for the team balance-wise to have some accountability. But I don't think so. I don't think he relinquishes the duties to Pete Carmichael, not because I don't think he trusts Pete Carmichael. I think he just enjoys calling the plays. I think, but he's not. But the thing is, being a head coach, meaning that you got to allow your other coaches to do what they're supposed to do. He allows Dennis Allen to do that with the defense. He allows the special teams coach to do that with the special teams. Let Pete Carmichael call the offensive plays. I'll say.
Exactly.
But I don't think that happens this year.
As smart as Drew is, let Drew call a few plays. I like the old school Q with a quarterback with, like old Lynn Dawson and call their own plays. Old Joe Namath. Let them call their own plays sometimes, Spice it up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not against it, but I think this year, if you look at everything that's going on as far as the Saints are concerned, the talent's there. Now, there's a few pieces that I'm skeptical about whether who's going to be the situational pass rusher. I said Everson Griffin puts us over the top. That's my opinion. I would still like to have a veteran cornerback. There are really good ones out there right now. So, to add to the mixture, because, we get weak in the secondary times, and having a veteran there will help out as well. And then pass rusher to get to the quarterbacks. You're going to need that.
That's true, Q, because when you got your corners getting 30, 31, 32, getting long in the tooth, you better get some quick back there. Get some quicknesses on you.
And the thing is also, if this is a short-term deal, meaning if we're in it for the Super Bowl year this year, if it's a Super Bowl year this year, and that's indeed the case, then what we need to focus on as a team is getting the situations, the sack situation resolved and moving ahead. Because if Drew's saying he's quitting this year, which I doubt, but if crazy things happen, and he says, you know what, I'm gonna hang it up. I don't care. I don't think whatever's happened, I'm done. I'm done. But
that deal is going to the booth. Q might be too tempting to pass. You never know.
It could be.
Why say, hey, baby, look, why you gonna give the game? You go sit in the booth and make more than that probably, and not have to risk your life and limb. No, I think you need to retire. You never know.
You never know. That's what I'm saying. But if that's the case, then we got to make a move now.
But you never know, Q. You keep saying about the talent, but I would hate to see that this be a talented team that don't go nowhere. Because there's been a lot of teams over the years, that were very talented and didn't win the Super Bowl. You got to get out your own way. I.e., if you can remember, the '98 Vikings, Denny Green.
Oh man, yeah.
Talk to him, Q. Talk to him. Tell him, Q. Look at all that talent that was on that team, man.
It was a very talented team. Yeah, I mean,
I remember Chris Carter. You had Randy Moss. You had, oh my goodness, Jake Reed.
Robert Smith. Wasn't Robert Smith on that team, the running back?
Robert Smith. He was the lead running back. I think he got 1,300, 1,400 yards rushing that year.
He was catching it and running it. Yep. Then that defense was loaded. Chris Dolman and the likes.
John Randall.
Yep, John Randall.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Chris Dolman, John Randall. It was ferocious, man. And the Saints have had a history of the purple people getting in their way, man. The Saints have always had a history of the purple people getting in their way. That goes all the way back when the Saints made the playoffs for the very first time. And the first game they had for the very first time against the purple people. And the Saints was in the Superdome. And boy, the Saints scored first. The Dome was on fire. And then it was a blowout after that. The Vikings came on. Randall Cunningham. Was it Randall Cunningham? No, it wasn't Randall Cunningham. It was.
You know what happened to Cunningham?
I know Anthony Carter was tearing them up. It wasn't Chris Carter in there because Chris Carter was still in Philly. He was playing for Philadelphia. It was Anthony Carter that tore him up.
It was after the call, but you know what happened in that game? Coach Jerry Burns got smart. Kramer was in there struggling. The Saints was getting to him. Ricky and Jim and all them, Jim Wilkes, were knocking him around. Sam Mill, he slips Wade Wilson in there, whom the Saints hadn't faced that year. And Wade Wilson came out, he was spitting fire. He was hitting on all cylinders. And the Saints didn't have no answer for it. Threw the backup quarterback on him.
Yeah. It was.
It's hard when you compare your defense Q for, Tom Brady. And then you have, Steve Young just was throwing a name out there. He comes out there playing. Well, we didn't prepare for him. Wait, now what we going to do? See? And they couldn't adjust, know.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
They had their problem, too, about adjustments, halftime adjustments.
But the Saints have been terrific about the halftime adjustments over the last several seasons in terms of the playoffs is a different matter. That's what I'm saying.
We talk about playoffs. That's the regular season.
Right, regular season is the Saints have got it. The schedule, the Saints should win at least 12, 13 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they go 14-2 next year. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Because you have teams in there they should be able to demolish. Now, they do have some tough teams coming up, revenge games against Minnesota. Don't crap on Minnesota. Minnesota is formidable. They have Justin Jefferson over there now. Thielen is the top man there. They got Cook there, who was and they have they had a pretty nice draft and some acquisitions. So Minnesota's looking formidable. San Francisco's looking formidable.
Again. Oh, Lord.
Philadelphia had a pretty nice draft as well, and we're going to be looking at it. So then you got Kansas City, who is the Super Bowl representative for the AFC. So, I mean, we have an opportunity. We got a major opportunity to slam these goddamn teams down and take what is ours. It's not going to be easy. The Super Bowl is going to be in Tampa, but the reality is, at the end of the day, is that Sean Payton and Drew Brees understands how difficult the task is going into this year with Tom Brady. The pressure is not on. This is weird. Even though the Saints, and I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. The Saints have. They don't have. Listen to me on here, great Saints think tank. Y'all overhear this. The Saints do not have the pressure on them this year to become Super Bowl champions. Say, well, Q, hold on, we putting the pressure on them. Listen, understand me. They already know what their expectations is because they know if Drew's time is limited, they know they got a ball or fall. That's the bottom line. That's the mentality or the saying that should be for this year. Ball or fall. There is no backups. Now, the thing is, the real elite, the people out here that's talking about the elite of the division are saying who's supposed to be what. The pressure is not on the Saints to represent and hold the NFC South. It's actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who's bringing Tom Brady there and putting all the pressure on Brady and Gronk and all these other people. So if everybody done slid their opinion to Tampa Bay, being that Tampa's where the Super Bowl is, Tom Brady's there, who's a couple of years removed from a Super Bowl ring, and the pressure is on. They're going to be looking at Tom Brady. They're not looking at the Saints, and they're discounting the moves the Saints have made because you think about Emmanuel Sanders and Malcolm Jenkins. Those are two moves in the crucial areas of the team that we needed veteran leadership, not just veteran leadership, impactful veteran leadership. Emmanuel Sanders he is the equivalent of what Malcolm Jenkins is defensively, what he does offensively. He's a mentor. He'll mentor up the young wide receivers, just like Jenkins will mentor up the young defensive backs. And those are two huge mega signings for the Saints to get Sanders, who's a perfect complement to Michael Thomas, and Jenkins, who's a perfect complement to what the Saints secondary needed, a pair of veteran eyes who can see what was coming. Then the Saints continue to add depth, bringing back people like David Onyemata, Andrews Pete, guys who are familiar, that know the system. They followed it up with a strong draft, resituating the offensive line, getting better there, in my opinion, and then turn around and bring back the strong undrafted guys to fill in the position. And then if that don't float your boat, in the second layer of free agency, the Saints sign a guy like Ty Montgomery, who's the perfect complement player to what the Saints are going to do. He's a guy that can block, catch, and go out and be a wide receiver. He most certainly, and he plays special teams too. That guy most certainly, if they don't keep 4 running backs, he definitely taking Dwayne Washington's job. There ain't no doubt about it. He has too much field experience. He's been too impactful, and he strived in Green Bay system. Imagine what he looks like in freaking New Orleans system. It's just a no-brainer. So like I'm saying, if from this point forward, the Saints have everything that it takes to go there, and they're going to dominate the regular season like they've been doing. But the pressure's not on them to represent for a 4th year straight. Everybody already picking Tampa Bay to be the team to come out of the NFC South. So the only thing the Saints have to do is just do what they've been doing. Kicking ass. So when it comes down to the playoffs is when the Saints have to then resurrect. Because I'm thinking, to a degree, the Saints have gotten bored in the regular season from all of the domination. That's why we had lacks and mental perspectives. The Atlanta game was if you want proof on that, the Atlanta game was a big a chunk of evidence to show that the Saints got bored during the regular season because they was kicking teams' ass. But after they beat Atlanta, they was able to come back, rebound, do some stuff. They got up here, did that, and that, and the third. But the playoffs is where the Saints have to show that they don't have the demons of the past or the ghosts of the past or the phantoms of the past that will bring them down. So that's my perspective on it, and I'm thinking that's how it's going to end up being. But Brother Paul, I appreciate you, man, for getting on the phone and dropping all that knowledge, man.
I certainly enjoyed it, Q. And the NFL know, I'm going to leave you with this. The NFL know what they were doing, Tampa Bay and New Orleans right off the bat. Hey, they ready to get it going, man. But I make a prediction, Q. I don't know who will win, but whoever offense has the ball last is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, it is. Well, I appreciate you, Brother Paul. Be safe out there, my brother. And who that too?
All right, take it easy, man.
Who that? That's Brother Paul, man. Much love to Brother Paul for chiming in, dropping some knowledge with the Great Saints Think Tank. You know how I feel, family, about Brother Paul. He always he's the Great Saints Think Tank historian. He's going to bring it from the perspective of a guy that's been watching the Saints for many, many years. And then I've seen coach after coach after coach. So he has like a Saints trending or pattern prediction, so to speak, of how looking at the teams and noticing a pattern forming because of seeing so many things from the past. But unlike any other team from the past, the Saints this team is super uber talented. And I was just saying a few things they need to get over that level. Another defensive pass rusher who knows what he's doing, and a veteran cornerback, and the Saints are over the Super Bowl. And of course, we need the injury bug not to bite us so bad this year as well. And I think we can get 13-3, or even, I wouldn't be surprised, 14-2 next year. The Saints are on a mission, man. They know Drew Brees and recognize that Drew Brees is getting close to finishing his career. They understand that. They know Drew Brees is 40 plus years old. You got to bring the running game. We understand that. And plus the defense has to step up. People has to step up. Traquan Smith, Davenport, all these guys that have to step up and show that they belong. Alex Anzalone, talented. But Alex, man, you got to stay healthy, buddy. You got to stay healthy and produce on the field, man. Just go over there to Demario Davis and ask Demario Davis what he doing to stay healthy, and follow him for goodness sakes, man. Who that to the Black and Gold family members in the building as well. Much love to you chiming in. Iceman, I see you, Iceman. Who that to you, Iceman? Who that 504 boy, I see your family as well in the chat. Good to see you as well. Tramal, I see you, Tramal. Who that to you, Tramal? Big ups to you as well. Iceman says, Q, I'm sorry, I know you like Traquan, but I'm over. It's time to start holding these players accountable. It's been 3 seasons. He's still the same dude. This year's his year, bro. And you're right. Marquez Callaway and a few other guys are coming for his ass. That's why I say he has to step up and show that he could be the guy behind. But remember, there's a lot of obstacles to Traquan Smith. Now, we talked about Callaway. We talked about all these other guys. But Taysom Hill is going to be stealing a lot of Traquan Smith's snaps. Because when you go slot, you're going to have Traquan Smith out there. Not to mention, I expect if he stays healthy and stays on the team, I think Ty Montgomery has a really good chance of making this team. I'm serious. He's a veteran that they can trust. He's a guy that's done it before, a similar system. If he's healthy and he picking up the offense, I'm saying Ty Montgomery could make this team. And he could play in the slot as well. And I think he's a better slot man than Traquan Smith. Is way better. He's a better blocker. He's a better wide receiver at this point of his career than a guy like Traquan Smith. So it's that factor. Even though he makes the team as a running back, he actually a wide receiver by trade who can do running back duties and play special teams. So, I mean, it's a lot going on from the wide receiver position. If you think about why they haven't addressed the slot position, you look at guys like Austin Carr, much love to Austin Carr, but he's another guy that has the skill of making a team because he's trusted to catch the ball in the slot and he blocks and does everything. Not the super fast guy, but I'm telling you, they like him. It comes down to it. They trust him. Iceman says, Q, let's see. Okay, thank you for that, Iceman. Rocky says, it seems like the way you play the regular season and how you play in the playoffs, there's some sort of shift to the way the Saints play. That's absolutely true, Rocky. It's the fact that when you come down to it, you cannot. If you go, you're supposed to ratchet up your play. Any other players or coaches will tell you playoffs mean you have to level up. It's not the same. It's more intense, it's more focused, and the teams that are more focused, more disciplined, more focused, have more success in the playoffs. You cannot go in the playoffs, and discipline ties to turning the ball over. You got to be disciplined. You got to know what you're doing. You have to dominate your individual matchups. You cannot make mistakes. You got to let other teams make mistakes and hurt themselves. You have to be disciplined in the playoffs. You cannot do the foolish stuff that happens in the regular season and think you're going to get away with it in the playoffs. You turn the ball over a couple of times in the playoffs, you could lose. And that's the things that we have not taken. We're playing these playoff games like they're regular season games. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing regular season football. The Saints thinking that because they dominate in the regular season, they're bringing that regular season ass mentality in the playoffs and they're getting their ass handed to them. You can't do that. So I'm interested to see how the Saints then address that coming to this season. You know, and we're going to be reaching out to Sean Payton. I got some of the family members here at the Great Saints Think Tank and the sports and the PRO Media Network all reaching out to Sean Payton because we have questions for Coach Payton. And just like we get reporters, we'll have players on the shows and likewise, so on and so forth. We're going to reach out to Coach Payton, try to get him on the show because a lot of these questions, those are questions, man. You know, are you going to run the ball? I mean, I've not heard reporters, and I like DeShacia, but I've not heard DeShacia say, hey, Coach, we want the family members want to know if you're going to run the ball this year more than you ran it next year. These type of questions I will ask Coach Payton when he comes on this show because we're going to get him on this show. I promise you that much. We're going to get him on the show. But that's the type of stuff that we want to ask the coach. Listen, Coach Payton, we want to know from the fan perspective, when are you this, that, and the third? And I got a laundry list of stuff I'm going to ask him. I'm going to get him on here. We're going to work on it. All right, let's see who else. Iceman said, if the family can see we need to run the ball, how can a man getting paid to do that for a living can't see it? I don't think he can't see it. Remember, like we mentioned of running the ball, then it's the short running passes. These short dump-off passes that count as an extended running play. You see what I'm saying? That is some of the stuff the Saints run as well because Drew is known to dink and dunk you to death. He'll find Alvin Kamara in space and find him. And the Saints have a lot of players that's on the offense that work well in space. So if the Saints get mobile enough to move around and get creative enough with their blocking, because remember, they have great block. Don't forget this. We talk about the wide receivers and what they're doing. We forget to mention the fact that all of the Saints wide receivers are excellent blockers. Did we not forget about that? And that helps you when you're running the ball. Mike Thomas, as great as a wide receiver is, he's an excellent blocking wide receiver. He's a great blocking. So is Jared Cook. So is Josh Hill. Josh Hill used to be a catcher of the ball. He still catch the ball really well, but he has turned his blocking up to exponential levels. That's what, in my opinion, why he's stuck and stayed with the Saints. He's become an excellent blocker. I remember plays when Josh Hill was taking people out of the plays, opening up so the running back can get to the next level. Then you have guys like Emmanuel Sanders, who's a damn good blocker as well. This Troutman kid's going to help out. Then you have guys that are mobile, big offensive linemen that can get to points and block on the run, on the move, going up the field, blocking and making plays. So, we have Latavius Murray. Kamara is a good blocker. So our skill players are really, Taysom Hill's a good blocker as well. So we have good blockers all over the place, and that helps the running game out as well. So like I'm saying, I still say that we on the plus side here, and I'm saying we're playing with a swagger this year. We don't have the burden on us to be the Super Bowl team because everybody already picked Tom Brady in the Buccaneers to get it because they're at home. So, I mean, we just have to play our style of play in the regular season and then level up when the playoffs come. And I want to see what the Saints do to justify the losses in the playoffs. The last 3 years have been just crucial and heartbreaking, just terrible losses in the playoffs that just ripped the soul out of the Saints. That's why I said we deserve so much from going through this because of all of the stuff that had happened in the playoffs. It's just absolutely insane what we had to go through the last couple of years. Jay Giggity, I see your family, who that to you in the chat as well. He said we have at least 2 more Super Bowls had Sean Payton run the ball more. I agree with you. That's a part of it. You can't, and that's a part of the squandering of time with Drew Brees' prime years. But still in all, they can still make it work. This is the most talented team that I've seen in some time that Drew Brees have an opportunity to quarterback for. This will be interesting, especially offensively speaking. This is a tremendous, talented unit. I'm just saying they're fantastic. Big ups to the family members. Jamal says Payton needs to get fired if we fall short this year. We have the best roster as stated by everybody. It's a loaded team. I don't think he gets fired, but I think he gets a lot of heat from the fan base if he doesn't get it done this year because we'll be start saying that he can't get it done no more. Then that'll start forcing Sean Payton because after Drew leaves, if he leaves, you have a new quarterback in place when then Sean Payton will then run the ball. Same way he did with Teddy Bridgewater when the games he played. Look at the scenario. He trusts Drew a little more than what he's supposed to. And I'm not saying he's not supposed to, but I'm saying as the head coach, you got to rectify, you got to create the balance of passing and running to give your team success, because you don't want to put all that on a 40-plus-year-old quarterback. You want to run the ball with a 240-pound running back named Latavius Murray, who averaging 5 or 6 yards a carry, even if you got to get a ball to Dwayne Washington averaging 5 yards a carry. 5 yards a carry means they run twice and get a first down. What part of the game we not getting here? I mean, what part of the freaking game are we not understanding here? You got guys that average 4 yards a carry. Latavius averages 5 yards a carry. Dwayne Washington averages 5 yards a carry. That means if you can add, that means you get the ball twice, you give me a first down every 2 carries. So why are we not utilizing this? And it got to come to a point that we got to do it, bottom line. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So Van Ward, who that to you? Let's see who else. Iceman says we have the talent. We have we have Pro Bowl in every level of defense. If Sean can't do nothing with this roster, I think we have to reevaluate the coaching position. I think he'll reevaluate himself. I don't think we get rid of Coach Payton if they lose. I still say he takes it really hard and he comes back next year like you never seen before, because he has to. You know, he'll have the reputation of being a guy that can't get it done no more. That's what sticks this year. If you can't get it done this year, that will start sticking to Sean Payton. That he can't get it done no more. Then you'll start hearing talk about Sean Payton, the game that passed him by. He can't win and all this kind of stuff. This what happens when you consistently and repetitiously lose like you've been losing. And then sooner or later, you got to run out of excuses. First of all, it's the referees shooting us. That was ball to dash and bull. The guy missed the call at the end of the Rams game, but so did the Saints drop a touchdown pass in that game. That same touchdown pass, if had caught, it would have been 7 points. You'd have won the goddamn game. It wouldn't have mean nothing about the referees. And from the Minnesota Miracle, that was a problem on the Saints defense calling that stupid ass play when they should have called the prevent back there to stop that from happening. So, I mean, see, this stuff that falls on the team. And even in those games, you was playing from behind. Then a game last year, you didn't do nothing. You couldn't do nothing. I mean, it comes down to a lot, man. All right, fam, let's keep it going. Trailhead says no excuses. They have damn near a superstar at every skill position. This is a loaded unit. And I was merely saying you had Everson Griffin, Marcus Golden, or even Clay Matthews to this unit. It puts him over the top. Imagine if you were able to get a guy like Everson Griffin, and then you bring Logan Ryan on the team. I mean, come on, man. You can never have too many good veterans on a team, especially if you are a team looking to go to the Super Bowl. You don't leave any stone unturned. Jay Giggity, who that to your family? He says, Drew in decline, SP insists on throwing more and running less. That has to change this year. You can't go into that doing the same stuff over and over again. Having your 40-year-old quarterback throw the ball around the field is absolutely insane. So I hope it's not the same. I believe it will reverse itself. I think we'll run the ball and pass the ball more in Drew's final year. Thank you for that, Jay Giggity, who that to you? Till says, stay positive, OG Paul. We got this year. Thank you, Till, for your positivity. I think the Uncle Paulie, watch all that stuff. He's been a Saints fan for a very long time, man. And he can bring up a lot of stuff like he just showed. He's a wealth of information from a Saints perspective, but I've never seen a Saint. I've been watching Saint football for a while, and I've never seen a team as loaded as this team is. I'm just going to keep it real with you. And Everson Griffin and guys like Logan Ryan would be icing on the cake, so to speak. But the truth be told is, if we can get one of these guys to step up as edge rusher, we looking like something fierce. This team is loaded, and the pressure's not even on them to be a Super Bowl team. That's the crazy part. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done us tremendous service in blowing away free agency, signing Tom Brady, getting Gronkowski out of free agency. You hear nothing about Goodwin and Mike Evans, and the fact that it's in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay has Tom Brady, who was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. See, that took all of the pressure off of you because they're picking Tom Brady in the NFC South to win. The Saints have nothing to do just to play football, man, and just demolish everybody. That's what I'm saying. You have no pressure. You can play like you want to play and have fun with it. We just have to be serious when the playoffs come and ratchet up and stay healthy. That's what it comes down to. Very deep team. I love it, man. I love it. And even the future looking bright too, because even if Drew moves out of the way, you still got a guy behind him who's very talented, who just needs to take half of what Drew's going to teach him to be great. That's the piece that he's missing, is what Drew's going to give him after this season. Then you have guys like Taysom Hill, and then so on and so forth. don't forget you still have Jeff Ireland there, still picking up draft picks, still getting undrafted guys. It's absolutely phenomenal. And by the way, our undrafted class was rated as one of the tops in the undrafted ranking system that one of the articles placed out. I wanted to cover it. I forgot to cover that. All right, let's keep it going here. Iceman, so we're going to, let's see, Jay Giggity says, man, our defense is going to be jacked up. Ain't no cakewalk this year. Scoop says 49ers have the hangover. The Bucks have the expectation. The Saints have the best overall team. I like our chances. That's well said, Scoop. Big ups to you. Let's see what else we got. Lance Kelly, who that to you, Lance? I see you, fam. King Creole the first, who that for you? I see you. Lane Justice. What up, Lane? How you doing? Good to see you, family. Good to see you. I hope everything's all right with you. He's saying, in all seriousness, I was pretty hyped about it. Couldn't believe we got T. Higgins. I thought, okay, he was talking about Lane's team there. Much love to you, Lane. Good to see you in the chat as well. King Creole, big ups. He says, Saints need a sense of urgency. Week 1 and times 2 in the playoffs. Breaks my heart when we lose in the dome. Shouldn't be. Thank you for the comment there, King Creole the first. All right, family. Let's see. Let's see here. I think, hold on, the phones. Hold on, fam. I think the phone line was open for whatever reason. Let me reset the line. See, I'm going to take a few more calls before I shut the stream down. Another 15 minutes or so, family, before I shut the stream down. Let me reset the phone line because it seemed like it wasn't running at all. That's crazy. That's why we wasn't getting no calls. All right, family. I'm going to take a few more calls for the show right here before we shut the stream down, so you can feel free to call the show as well. Let's see. Keep it going. Okay. All right, Tramal. I'm sorry, man. Look like I made a mistake and clicked it off for whatever reason after Paul called. I apologize for that. But I reset the phone lines. It's open. So if you want to call, you can chime in. 504-475-4482. I'll take a few more calls, family, before we shut the stream down. Coming up close at 9 o'clock. We got to shut it down. Your boy got some daddy work to do. I got a couple of children to cook for. I actually cooked yesterday, but I'm gonna fix it. So I'm gonna take a few more quick calls here, family. So get your question, comment, concern ready, and so we can move forward. All right, family. Thank you for calling Sports Coma Speaker with. Hello, family.
Hello.
Hello. You on the line?
Yeah. This Boss Hall.
Boss Hall. What's happening, fam? How you doing, brother?
What's going on? I just had to chime in. I've been trying to call for a while, but I need to put some things out there, things on my chest.
All right, come on, Boss Hall. What you got, brother?
All right. Well, see, the thing is, it's like, yes, we did a whole lot of good. We picked up a lot of good things from free agency, the draft. I like it. I like these young linebackers. I like that. But my thing is, it's like, I just don't want Sean Payton to get in the way. And it just seems like he just gets in the way with his, even though they just, they give him his credit. I give him credit as being a good coach.
Right.
But at the same time, he does a lot of boneheads, it's just like he gets too arrogant, gets too cocky, and he allows his ego to get beaten instead of the team. I feel like his ego is more up for grabs in the game than us actually winning the game. The Saints winning sometimes.
Okay.
And my thing is, it's like ain't no way. There's certain things like he abandons the run. Like there's no way we pick up somebody like a Ty Montgomery. We got Kamara. We got Latavius. Like there's no way we shouldn't do something like run all three of them. There's no way we shouldn't do that. And I'm loving the Emmanuel Sanders, the counter to Michael Thomas. Mm-hmm. So I mean, because you got to think all this damage was doing to teams. We were whooping their ass with just Mike Thomas. Kamara was hurt really. So it was like. We've really beaten one dimension with one player.
Right.
And it's like, it's a way that we shouldn't be able to, take control, but I mean, I just don't feel like, Tom Brady and the Bucks, it's not enough. They don't have enough to beat us. Like, it's like we've been together longer. Mm-hmm. We have a solid, foundation with with our team. And it's just like straight up. I just feel like we're the better team. And it's just like, I feel like when we do lose these games, it's not really the talent that lose the game. It's Sean Payton. It's his coaching.
Okay.
So I just hope and pray that he just sticks with the running running the ball for one, and setting that. So it's like we don't become just readable to these things. Our defense. I love the fact that they put some veterans back there because we were so young. Our defense is back. We were young back then, and I like the fact that we got Jenkins and Janori and all these it's better, and I just pray that we get another defensive end to help out Cam. Just as explosive as Cam is.
Boss Hog, I agree with you on that, but I think a defensive end would be something that'll definitely serve us, man. I would love to have it because Davenport, with his injury history, is suspect. So is Trey Henderson's injury history. Noah Spence, Carl Granderson, Margus Hunt, and the rest of these guys, Mario Edwards Jr. And then you throw Zach Bond, the rookie, in there. These guys are unproven pass rushers, so you don't exactly know what you're getting with them. And I would like to have it solved with a guy like Everson Griffin. I would love it, even Marcus Golden, even Clay Matthews. So I agree with you on that. In terms of what you were saying about Sean Payton, in certain games allowing his ego to take over against coaches that he really want to beat, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that. And that can't happen this upcoming year. And that's a part of the reason why the Saints are not excelling, because it all falls on the coach. It falls on the coach. The coach has to be able to get his team ready for the playoffs. He's gotten them ready for the regular season. The playoffs is a whole nother matter, and we've been failing over the last 3 years in the playoffs. But I think the desperation aspect of knowing that Drew's times is coming, he kind of switched around the interior of the offensive line. He's improved the team overall, in my opinion. Adding Emmanuel Sanders and Malcolm Jenkins, had a nice draft and an undrafted class as well to add to the depth situation. This is a very talented. And then toward the back end of free agency, in the second layers of free agency, you pick up Ty Montgomery and add this guy, Chiquillo, who's a guy that probably will run Craig Robinson off. But they've picked up some excellent talent and made a very deep team even better. And like I said, Tom Brady, with all the stuff that happened in Tampa Bay, the fact that the Super Bowl's in Tampa with Tom Brady there, they take all of the press, they take all of that stuff. The Saints can play football, get 13-3, 14-2, whatever it is, and they get to the playoffs to take care of business. We just have to run the ball more, and I do believe the fact is that Drew Brees is in his final year, as according to what they're saying, and he signed the contracts to go and be an analyst with television networks. We have to look at the fact that Sean Payton has to run the ball this season, and it has to, because the reshuffling offensive line, changing the center in the center and quarterback snap that's a big thing. But you put this young guy in here, and then you put McCoy there. That makes the interior of the Saints offensive line a lot nastier with this big mean-ass Michigan center. People don't know who this guy is. You need to go watch film on this guy. Very nasty guy.
He's a beast.
Very nasty. He is and then he blocks. He's a great pass blocker, but he's a hell of a run blocker. He mauls guys. He puts his hands on you and runs you out of there. So I cannot think that this is just to protect Drew from getting pressure up the interior. It has to be the fact that the Saints going to definitely end up running the football. Then you add all the additions of people like Ty Montgomery as well. I mean, the offense is loaded all over the place for them. They got to run the ball.
Yeah. And that's where we fell apart at the end of the season last year due to injuries. And, the offensive line was collapsing on Drew a lot. And he's a pocket quarterback. Let's be real. He needs time. Right. So, so he needs time to, for him to be a pocket quarterback, he get the ball off pretty quick. But he still needs that. He needs that protection. He needs that protection, and just like all pocket quarterbacks, if you don't have that line to hold it down, you become acceptable to anything at that point. Right. So it's like at the end of the day, for us to actually excel and be, because we have the talent. Correct. We've had the talent for the past 3 years.
Yes.
But it's just like I just don't want, like, those games that we lost, we shouldn't have lost them. And I think that was due to Sean Payton and his ways. I feel like we stopped running the ball, and then it's like I feel like he puts in a position where it's just like, okay, well, it's like he doesn't have the defense and the offense from the same type of. It just seems like if the defense is playing real good, the offense is not doing what it's supposed to. Or he's calling bad plays, or he's doing, he's not running the ball, he's getting away from that. It's just like now we come, then that's how San Fran beat us.
Yeah.
That's how they beat us. It wasn't because of the lack of talent. It wasn't because of the lack of Drew Brees had a bad game. Well, he actually was doing good. It was just a simple fact that the same thing he did with the X Factor with Taysom Hill, the X Factor in the Minnesota game. He stopped doing it. It's just like you see something that works and you stop, and you go back to doing something that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you got to make those adjustments in the game, just like those coaches was doing with San Fran. Coach did that. He made the adjustments in the game.
That's right. I mean,
he made
right.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like, I understand having a game plan, of course. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you got to have 2, 3, 4 options with this when you know that you're facing a coach that's gimmicky just like you.
Yeah.
So it's just like.
I know the San Francisco, just to piggyback your point on that, Boss Hog, you made mention of the fact that with the San Francisco game, remember it came to a point where it just was a breakdown in the defense because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was supposed to tackle George Kittles and get him down. If he had tackled him there, the game would have been over with. So the defense was kind of tired and they were withered down. It was a 40 burger game that was just explosive. And the fact that it was like that because nobody was practicing clock management. It was just a battle of egos and wheels going on because Shanahan and don't like Payton and Payton don't like Shanahan. So he trying to show Shanahan up. So, I mean, you can't get like that. And I called him out on that. I called him out on that. I called him out on that. For sure. I heard you say that. A lot of them didn't like it, Boss Hog. A lot of the brainwashed Saints fans is out there. And I'm like, man, listen, man. If you can question the president of the United States, and some people even question their God. This guy's a football coach. You don't think he make mistakes on the field? Everything he do it right. Whatever Sean Payton do, I'm gonna go with it because that's my coach. You ain't supposed to think like that. That's a fool think like that.
No,
you're supposed to be able to challenge anything anybody say, including myself. If I can challenge, I will be challenged. If I'm stand before you and challenge somebody, then I open myself up to be challenged. And I'm on this farm to be challenged. I take questions, answers, and calls and every damn thing on how I think. So I'm not afraid to be challenged by somebody on my Saint acumen. But like I said about Coach Payton is that if you don't, we know what a BS artist look like. And many times I call him politician Payton because I call him that in times when I know he being political. And when he really called it, that was a chest beating contest right there, that 49ers game and that Minnesota game. You got to be able to pull yourself under control and not put your team in bad situations where they're gonna lose, and that's what happened, and that shows cracks in armor because you can't preach all the time. This is a team, and then you get in these games and it's all about you and the way you want to beat the team. You won't beat them your way and not the right way, like running the ball and taking the clock and taking the steam out the team. So
because that was the thing because he pissed me off so bad with Latavius Murray last season.
Oh yeah,
like he pissed me off like. There's no reason that he should have got those little bit because look at the offense that how did he change the whole scheme? He just fell. He fell in love with Kamara. He fell in love. Cool, but the thing was, as you see the tandem when we was doing the Kamara and what's his name? They went to Baltimore. Other running back we had that two times. We had them two. Ingram. We had him and Ingram. Our run game was unstoppable. He just ran up. He left. It was just straight up Kamara. When Kamara, he wasn't playing like himself. You could tell he was hurt. Something was wrong. But it's like at the same time, like those, like him, Cam Jordan was hurt towards the end too. So it was like that. He got hurt in that 49ers game. So he became kind of, a little shell of himself a little bit where he'd normally get after the quarterback. He couldn't really, he had a whole muscle all tore off and he could continue to play. But it's just like at the end of the day, it's like you're not realizing like, okay, those our players that we have that are something like a Cam and a Kamara and Mike Tomlin's playing with a broke hand. Like all of our people, it's like this is the thing. The people that are fresh, he's not using them. Like Latavius Murray's fresh. You want to use everybody down. You can't wear your team down like that. And then it didn't make sense to me the things that he decided to do. It didn't. I just was like at the time I wasn't mad at the team. I was mad at him after some of these games.
Right. As I was too. You're right, Boss Hog, as I was too. And it's actually healthy and truthful to be upset because you recognizing that the thing is a lot of people would then don't get the fact that when we react to something is because of the fact that the guy that's saying that he was going to do this and the principles, because like I said, I played dozens of hundreds of Sean Payton's interviews over the course of a season, over the course of a year. We constantly playing Sean Payton because that gives you insight on the process of thought dealing with the coach. How could we then sit up here and have a discussion about the coach if we don't know the coach or his propensities or what his likes and dislikes, his philosophies, as it were? Because basically what we are doing is that we're having a discussion on the topics, on his philosophy. What is the philosophy of Sean Payton? Sean Payton is a throw it first, run it second kind of guy. Until he has a change in quarterback, then he becomes a balanced dude, which means he has the ability to do it. But it's the fact that he's lulled to sleep by it because of his trust of Drew Brees, which is warranted. I understand that. But still, as the head coach, it's your job because he's just the quarterback, regardless of if how great he is or not. He's still only the quarterback. He's not the head coach of the team. You are. And it is your skill set, is your schematic that he's using to direct the team. So if that's the case, then it will better serve you to balance it off. And we base it, and when I get upset is because it's going against the core principles that this coach, our coach, Sean Payton, is constantly preaching to the team and constantly preaching to the fan base about what's going on. So when I get upset and see you not running the ball, and like Demi said in the chat, Demi said it was frustrating not seeing Latavius Murray utilized as much as he was supposed to be utilized. And that was quite frustrating because he was like 120-something yards rushing wise from catching what Alvin Kamara did for the entire year. He was like 120 yards from catching it. And Kamara started the most. Yeah, that shows you how less impactful Kamara was toward the back end of the defense. Now, toward the season, excuse me. But the problem is from that point, Boss Hog, is the fact that if you see that happening, if you're seeing the guy on the court, on the field, and he's not himself, he's not himself, then you got to have a talk with him and let him know what's going on. You find, yeah. Okay, and then he goes back out there and he still doesn't show up, then you got to take him out of the game. I don't care who it is. You got to pull him out of the game and put the next guy in the game because this guy is not contributing. What good is it for Alvin Kamara late in the stretch of last year when he was playing a game, he would catch 4 or 5 passes for 50 yards? What good is that? He would have 6 catches for 30 yards. What good is that? That's good numbers for Austin Carr or even Traquan Smith, but if not for Alvin Kamara. If you catching the ball, you catch 6 or 7 passes for 65 yards, what good is that with no touchdowns and you're running out of bounds? Because you said there was somebody behind you. You did that several times. Then later on in the season, he then said that he did it because he wasn't completely healthy. But I thought you said you ain't seen nobody. So which is it? So that's what I'm saying. It's just, it get to the point where the coach has to be the guy if his player doesn't have it. I mean, Drew on down. If Drew don't have it, take the ball out of Drew's hands by running the ball. That's what I'm saying. Giving them the balance attack where it creates a thought process or at least a thought in their head. What the Saints going to do here? Are they going to pass or are they going to run it? What they going to do here? You got to be able to at least put that out there to your opposition so they don't just say, oh, the Saints just going to rep back and pass it all the time. It don't make sense for you to have a 40-plus-year-old quarterback who can't throw the ball consistently deep down the field beyond the 40-yard line to be winging it 30 times a game. That is absolutely insane. You're going to have to take the ball out of his hands and run the football with a competent Alvin Kamara, a competent Latavius Murray, and I'm telling y'all, Ty Montgomery will make this team as well. So you can utilize him too.
He's another X factor. He's another one, and that's bottom line. Just everything I do, everything you bottom line. Like you just like at the end of the day, it's his job to balance it out. Take all this talent and put it together and make it one unit. Yes. You know, and it's like he's had his times where he's done an awesome, great job, and he had his times where he just stinks the joint up when he does shit like that. Boy, Boss Hall, when he does it, man, I give him his credit. But boy, when he stinks it out, boy, does he stink it out. It's like when he stinks it out, it's like a Marcus Williams stink out. You know how a Marcus Williams make a mistake? Oh my goodness, man.
You know, the man don't just make a mistake, bro.
I had to get up and walk away from the TV a few times.
Man,
like,
bro,
it's like he'll piss you off that bad.
Oh,
It's like, but
man.
if you really a student of the game, and you really, this is you pay attention to the game, and you see these things, like, it's no way that you can sit down and watch this game. I can sit down and watch this game. This dude's getting paid billions of dollars to sit here and do the same. And we can see exactly what the problem is. But he don't.
Hold on just a second, boss. We got a second caller. What's going on, fam? Thank you for calling Sports Coma. Who's on the line?
What's up, Pepin? I'm trying to follow El Jefe Hall in the line. Hey, what you got?
What's up, Scoob? Hold on, Scoob. We'll get you in there. We got Boss Hog on the line, my friend. Just mute your phone as soon as Boss Hog finish. We'll bring you in there, my brother.
All right, I'm going to listen to El Jefe, and then I got something for it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right, Boss Hog, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's just his job to balance it out, And if we could sit back and watch these games and see the exact problems, see these problems that he has over and over and over again, there's no way that he should be that egotistic that he can't see it himself. And he's causing these games. He's causing us to, lose these games that we should win. That we lose to the teams that we are better than. Like, we are better than them in every possible way. We're better. There's no way that Minnesota should beat us last year.
Absolutely no way.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way.
Not on paper, not talent wise. There's no way that it should have been that close.
Right.
It should have been a landslide, But it's just like, at the same time, it's like, as you see, the X factor in that game was Tyson Hill. It was. He was the X factor. They didn't know what to do when it came down to Tyson Hill at all. They didn't know what to do. But
you're right. You're right, and Boss Hog. When you're right, bro, you're right. I mean, that is no way we should have lost to the Atlanta Falcons. No way we should have lost to the Minnesota Vikings. We shouldn't have lost to the San Francisco 49ers. That was a game you were supposed to take the air out the ball and not try to compete with them to see who's the best passing team in the game. That wasn't what it was supposed to be like. It was exciting to watch, but you were supposed to take the air out the ball.
But it was just that was just my thing about it. Like, our offensive line was hurting, and it wasn't time for Drew Brees. At that time, Drew, he wasn't effective because our offensive line was not. We were hurt, and things was going on offensive line. But the run game, they didn't have an answer. When he ran Latavius Murray, they couldn't stop him. When they ran Tyson Hill, they couldn't stop him. It was just like, but he ran away from it. He wanted to, sit back and throw the ball, and it's just like it wasn't working. But it's just like, that's your job to see that. It's your job to stop.
Right.
Hey, okay, this is what we need to do. All right, this is like that's ABC 1, 2, 3 stuff right there.
Yeah, it baffles my mind too to see that, because I could see him do some intricate stuff game after game, and then the simplest stuff like that will come into focus, and then you don't see it. And I'm saying, I know you don't catch everything. Very few people do. But that's the purpose of having a staff around you whom you trust that can give you the ability to be able to pull your coattail. Now, that's another thing I'm going to go back to. Because if we go back to, I played a show a couple of weeks ago, you heard about Delvin Breaux, what he was saying, how the doctors was scared to address certain situations. We know that there's no coat pullers in the Saints organization that's going to pull Sean Payton's coattail. We know there are no such people that exist in that organization. But the thing is, we're then relying on Sean Payton to understand that it's a limited time frame, and that you must then self-check yourself here, because you're getting close to the end of an era. And if you want to win a Super Bowl, your highest chance to win one is this year. Next year, if Drew leaves, then you will be at the mercy of other teams who are getting stronger year after year. The Carolina Panthers, not this year, but next year, they're going to be a force. They're coming. Yeah. The Atlanta Falcons, they still have weapons as well. And if you look at Tampa Bay has time for 2 years, and they have all that weaponry and all that talent, and they're going to be they're building on that defense. They got some players on that defense too now. So you got Devin White on that defense. You got Antonio Winfield's son that's on that defense. They got some talent there, and those teams ain't playing around. They spending money, they hiring coaches, and they coming. So you have a window of opportunity to make something happen. You've got to feel that sense, like one of the family members, I think it was Tramal or Iceman, or which of the family members made the point about urgency. Is a certain sense of urgency. You might not be feeling the pressure from somebody else, but the Saints supposed to have a certain amount of urgency to push forward past this into the playoffs and beyond. That's what it comes down to.
One last thing I got to say. I love this James Winston thing. I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it because at the end of the day, like, I feel like he's been humbled by the situation, losing his position, because from the get go he was the man. You know, as soon as he came in. You know, he was untested in every way. So it's like he just came in with that arrogant confidence. You know, so it's just, at the end of the day, I didn't like his attitude either at one point, but I know that he's been humbled just looking at his interviews, seeing what's going on. And I see how much he looks up to Drew Brees, and he's looking forward to being a partner. Mm-hmm. And even just bringing him in on a few plays, I think that Sean Payton should do that too. I think that he should bring him in on those deep passes. Sometimes let him, you know, air one out here and there, or something like that. Like that. I mean, like, it's just about this league that they have now. You know, it's about, you know, like, these quarterbacks, they can do it all. Like this young boy in Baltimore, he's coming. You know, like, it's like you can move, they can run, they can throw it, they got arms. You know, they're coming, they're fast, they're small, you know, so it's just like, at the end of the day, I just feel like if you add all those things up and just use all these weapons that you should use them, and then not just sit people or hold them, and just, like, don't hold nobody back, just keep it moving. Like, there's no way that you shouldn't have Ty Montgomery out here balling out this season. It's like, he's going to be an X factor. We got somebody like him, Taysom Hill, Emmanuel Sanders, Michael. You know, we got all these, you know, that pretty much they can be superstars, Pro Bowl players. Mm-hmm. There's no way that he shouldn't, you know, expose that and put them out there, let them, you know, and have all these packages for him. I just feel like he should be, you know, we're in a great week. This is, like you said, this is the best offense or best team that Drew Brees has had.
No, hands down, bro. I agree with you. Everything. And that's why I say the excuses, like Iceman will say, is no more excuses. Excuses out the door. And so if Drew's supposed to be his final season, you have Tom Brady moved out of the AFC into the NFC South, with the Super Bowl being in Tampa, and teams are gunning at the Saints. So it's time now for the Saints to get it right and keep dominating.
Drew Brees is under way more pressure. He had way more pressure than Tom Brady right now.
I think
more pressure.
I think that a lot of the stuff that's going on right now with the Saints is that if you look at it, Tom has a hell of a team, but Drew has the inside track because he knows the system inside and out. And I think it's plug and play with Emmanuel Sanders and a few of these players. Michael Jenkins and Emmanuel Sanders are plug and play players. So, I mean, these are veterans that'll pick up the scheme very fast, a lot faster than Jared Cook picked it up last year, by the way. So, I mean, I think we'll be fine moving forward. And my biggest thing that I like is the fact that the Saints gained a 3 tight end package back. I love that, and people don't understand how big that is for them. They operate the 3 tight end packages, and these 3 tight ends that they have, Cooks, Hill, and this Troutman kid, this is going to be a special mix. Not the means you throw Taysom Hill in there.
Troutman.
You throw Taysom Hill in there. You throw Montgomery in there. You throw Kamara in there. The Saints, there's no way you're going to be able to stop this team. This team will be this will be the best offense in the league. It'll be up there with what the Chiefs are trying to do. And we just got to have to press forward and conquer the ghosts of the playoffs. That's all we can do.
That's facts.
But I appreciate you, Boss Hog. Thank you, brother, for calling and spitting your game, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you for your support, my friend.
All right, who that?
Who that to your piece. All right, Scoob, are you on the line, my friend? Scoob, are you still there, brother? Scoob,
hello?
Yeah, you still there, brother?
Oh yeah, yep. We ain't going nowhere for the life of me. How you doing? How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, my friend. I'm doing good. Tramal I see you, Tramal. You can call up Tramal. I'll get you in there, brother. So don't worry. You can get behind Scoob. Scoob, you don't have to worry about that, brother. I'll get Tramal on there. I see you been trying to call up. Tramal, if you hear me, bro, if you're still on the show, just give me a ring. I'll get you in there. Big ups to the rest of the family members too, chiming in here. I see Antoinette. Who that to you, Antoinette? Good to see you, baby. Who that to you? Much love to you. I see you there, Antoinette. Herwin Marcia. Good to see you there. Herwin, who that to you as well, family. Says, who that will you be willing to sacrifice potential losses in the first 6 games or so to improve our running game? I think the Saints wouldn't have to do that. Remember, a part of the Saints game is the traditional run pattern, but there's also the short pass, the short short pass running, like the quick dart, the extended run option that the Saints usually do. Like Drew will just do a 3-step drop and fire the ball to an Alvin Kamara or a player that's at behind the line of scrimmage, and they'll take off in between. A lot of that, those type of extended plays, I can see the Saints utilizing them because they have that type of talent. So I don't think they have to sacrifice anything to do it. I think they'll be good enough to keep everything running. Thanks for the question. Once again, like I said, big ups to Lane. I see you there, Ramsey. Who that to you? Van Ward says, Q, I think the pressure will come back towards the end of the season. Okay, thank you for that, Van, as well. And like I said, much love to you, Antoinette. I see you, Donovan. Big ups to you, Donovan, in the chat as well. Go ahead, School Brad, to give us a couple of shout-outs, my friend. But Tramal, you can call in. Boo Nichols. What up? Who that to you, Boo Nichols? Jess Leo 12. Who that to you says New Orleans Saints should let Armstead go and find left tackle in the first round. That's coming soon, fam. Not this year, but maybe next year. If they move on for Drew Brees, Tyron might be in trouble as well, or he might have to take a severe cut and pay. Ernest, I see your family, says, did y'all listen to the ESPN interview with Delvin Breaux? He provided tremendous insight into Payton's psyche. It's his way or the highway. Saints will not be balanced until Brees is gone. I hear you, Ernest, and we played that interview here. I still say the desperation of knowing you losing Drew Brees at the end of the year should force you to balance your goddamn team. You will not have a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl but this year with this team, and I think he recognizes that. So that deals with a lot of the changes, the interior offensive lineman, among other things. And once again, Tramal, go ahead and call up, bro. It's okay. You can call up. I got the line open for you right now. Just go ahead and call up. Scoob's on the line right now, and I'll get you in there. You to be the last one. So Tramal, call up right now, fam. But go ahead, Scoob. Thank you for letting me shout out the family and talk to people. Go ahead, speak your insight there, Scoob.
All right, Pepin, how you doing, man? How are you?
Doing tremendous, bro. I'm doing excellent, my friend. How you doing?
I'm quite well. Look, and you know what? You know what's even making me feel better about the whole situation?
What's that, bro?
This off season that Sean Payton has got this team going through right now, yo. This transition right here from 2 seasons of 13-3, you would think we was 7-9 for 2 seasons. The moves this dude is making this off season.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
You know what I'm saying? He is going ape shit. I mean, pardon me, but
no, you got it.
He's off the chains with these moves he's making.
Hold on, Scoob, just for a second, my brother. We just got a call.
Go ahead.
That's you, Tramal?
Go ahead. Yeah, Q, I'm waiting on the wing, Q. I'm waiting on the wing. I'm a wing man.
All right, brother. Okay. Go ahead, Scoob. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was saying, I mean, Sean Payton, I mean, we love him and hate him and absolutely adore him all at the same time. But this dude, this year, is trying to go for broke. Like, he may have actually gave into the fact that this may be Drew Brees' last year with that little slip of the lip, or maybe it was a slip, but I really can't tell. I think this may be his last year because look at the stops this dude is pulling out, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't want to go for the 4 and 5 draft picks or the 5 and 6 draft picks. He put it down to 4 people who could step right in and play right now.
Right.
You know, as opposed to, you know, knowing that we're going to have a shortened season and we can't, or not a shortened season, but, you know, due to coronavirus, we won't be able to have an off season that's filled with, you know, training or whatever have you, you know, at the team facilities or whatever.
Right.
So he wanted to go ahead and focus on cats who are very intelligent and who are very gifted at what they're doing and that can contribute right away versus some cats that needed to be brought up to speed, you know, or are at best, you know, what do you call them, prospects. He actually got some cats that you can plug and play like right away.
Right.
Then that was the draft. Now, prior to the draft, we have to take our hats off to him because look who he got. He got a general in that back end of the defense where we were lacking. We got some studs on that defensive line. We got a stud on the defensive second, you know, the linebacker core, but we didn't have no studs in that back except for Marshawn Lattimore, but still youth, you know, lends to his inconsistencies as well. So now we got the cat we should have never got rid of to be a field general on the back end of that defense,
mm-hmm.
who can also step in the big nickel situations which we like to run often enough and be a linebacker or be that Troy Polamalu type. Or damn it, let's give it his name. We could be that Malcolm Jenkins type guy that he was for Philly with us. You know what I'm saying? To shore up that back end, which has been our real Achilles heel. When you figure, you look at all the way back to the Beastquake. What the hell was that? That was the secondary. After this dude got to the first and then the second level to the third level, he forced three cats into the ground with stiff arms in the secondary. You know, we've had that trouble for years.
Right.
This dude's focused on that as our sole deficiency towards the back end. Like, how many times? Look, Stephon Diggs, the miracle, back end. The last one, the back end again. Kittle last year, back end. What did he do? He went out and made an emphasis on that. Now, we might not like the fact that he bought back PJ. We might not like the fact that P. Rob is still there, but P. Rob plus Malcolm Jenkins equaled a very formidable secondary in the Philadelphia Eagles defense for that Super Bowl run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
he thought hard and long and went for that to mix that nice amount of veteran savvy with youth, which equates to a nice balance. However, something that I really wanted to talk about is you know, that kind of leads into or segues into is the fact that he has changed his philosophy from just good clubhouse guys to nasty good guys, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If I can make that make sense for this comparison, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's actually like that Joe Bocci. I threw that name out there, which you was like, oh yeah, how possibly, you know, reading in the chat earlier. But that Joe Bocci is like Bill Romanowski. He is nasty. You got me? He's
I like him a lot.
In your face and snot in your nose type linebacker. Even you know, and so is Demario Davis, and so is Malcolm Jenkins. You know what I mean? He's going for these cats that's going to balance that youth with the technicians like we got with Lattimore and whatever, and with, you know, straight nastiness, which is what we've been lacking. You know, I don't think that if Kittle is on the field last year and Malcolm Jenkins is one of the two cats in that back support trying to tackle him, I don't think he makes it anywhere near there. Malcolm Jenkins would have leveled this dude, you know, like Brian Dawkins, some kind of cats. They leave you laying on the ground with snot bubbles in your nose, like, stop. We're not even doing that, you know. So it's something to be said for the team for the last few years where we got the good clubhouse guys. Yeah, we got rid of the beach beater. What was his name? Went to
Gillette.
Gillette. Yeah, we got rid of those guys, but it's something to be said for those guys. Some cats with a slice. Fortunately, you have to find that balance, and some of them you can't find it with. However, Sean is actually going out of his way to make it so this year. Even so in his coaching choices. Like, look, all right, he went from he had to, but he went from losing Nolan to Dallas, right?
Right.
So Hodges, if you look at Hodges' track record, when he was playing, he was a snot-nosed type of hitter too. And his coaching, begets that in his players. He comes from that standpoint, like hit hard, lay it all on the field, and, you know, not like old boy tried to tell on his coach at Pittsburgh last week where he'll hand you the envelope at the end of the game, but
yeah,
hit him hard, and we'll take the penalties later. You know what I mean?
Right.
He is changing, he is shifting in philosophy, and I'm loving it. This is not just like we're looking at, oh yeah, okay, we got the little dumb stuff that, you know, you got Mike going back and forth with Parker, with the boy from Miami, and all that little cute stuff, you know, a little stupid stuff just to throw at you. Mm-hmm. But if you look at it, Sean is assembling some beautiful, beautiful pieces right here. Look at the new strength and conditioning coach. We ain't had a new strength and conditioning coach in 20 years.
20 years.
I looked at this dude's track record like I tried to get at you yesterday or the other day, trying to figure out who the heck we was talking about. But I looked at this dude. Look at his track record.
Yep.
This dude has put together some serious players and putting them and getting these guys to the point where there are no injuries.
there aren't these freak injuries. Like, he's making sure he's pulling out every single stop that is all on my players. It's not on me. I'm leaving it up to you guys. I'm putting this all together, and look what he's doing, man. It just, to me, I don't get it. I don't think, like, we want to bash Sean Payton, but be careful what you wish for, because this dude ain't been nothing but a stellar offensive mind since he got here. Now, he can't get out of his own goddamn way when it comes to running the ball sometimes. But at the same time, the iron's hot, and it seemed like the beans is almost done, and he know it. he know the beans is almost done. Number 9 finna be out the door, so he got to make it happen. And what did he do, man? He got these coaches. He even helped Aaron Glenn, who, God knows, we all loved Aaron Glenn, or love Aaron Glenn. But this dude, who's he developed? Like, I mean, I love him. I love him to death, but you play hard for him your first year, and then after that, where we go? Where we go?
Yeah.
Eli Apple, flash in the pan, yeah, because he can inspire you. Maybe you fall on deaf ears the second year playing for Glenn. I don't know really what it is, but then he hired a passing game coordinator from Maryland to come in, and what's he going to do? He's going to come in and bring the Maryland D-backs. Come on, you watch how they play? This dude is nasty, and he's bringing Sean Payton is marrying tenaciousness or tenacity with intelligent players, and that's a damn good thing. He's bringing up a what you could consider an NFL farm system. The way him and Mickey Loomis and Ireland is putting it together. I mean, man, I'm really, really interested in this last stand for Drew Brees, because this dude is actually putting it together. So, Aaron Glenn, that was a real problem. And Aaron Glenn has the pedigree or whatever, but it's no reason to give him a pass, because these cats is not developing under him like they really, really could be. Then look, even from last year, he took Curtis Johnson and moved him out the way and got Ronald Curry, who was much more of a Mike Thomas, like violent hands, create separation quickly type of guy. And he's made the receivers from last year. He took Mike from 1,400 yards to 1,800 something yards or whatever. It wasn't just Michael Thomas on his own. I mean, I understand he's tenacious in his preparation or whatever, but it was Ronald Curry's insight that actually developed this cat even further. You know what I mean? So I think Sean is really to be commended for what he's done in his off season. Now, like we hoping he rents some space in Jameis' head and change a little bit of the furniture around and make that cat not go from I never met a pass I didn't like to I'm gonna throw this ball and somebody gonna catch it, to the more cerebral approach like number 9 or whatever. But at the same time, this dude is really, really pulling out the stops, and I commend this dude, man. And just to sound like Uncle Paulie, and he's doing so good, Q, and it looks like we might have a good season. Well, what you think? Well, what you think? What you think, Q? What you think? Because because Sean pulling out his stops, Q, really, literally. Like, what are you talking back to me? What do you think?
I think you make, man, that's terrific points, man. At most, that's definitely said well. I think a lot of stuff, you make great points about the replacement at the linebackers coach, who's is an excellent football coach. These guys are spirited coaches. They put their play styles is definitely incorporated in their teaching methods. Ain't no doubt about it. You talk about Ryan Nielsen, who they picked up from North Carolina State several years ago, when he wasn't. It was his first pro gig, and he jumped from college to the pros. And the Saints actually took a time to look for Ryan Nielsen before they ultimately signed him, and it paid off ever since. So you had the stellar play of the offensive line with Rusher. It's been excellent. The defensive line, even the pass rush specialist, Brian Young, has been terrific. Nielsen, Hodges, and the rest of those guys, even to Aaron Glenn's favor, despite the fact that he's had some what's my word I'm looking for?
I don't know, missteps, if you will. I'm not sure, but
yeah, some miscues with some of his just technique. But Aaron Glenn almost was almost taken from the Saints recently. They offered them, try to get him. He was looked at for a defensive coordinator position. Ultimately, he didn't get it. But I still like Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn played the position for 20 years, and he was a pretty good cornerback in his own right. And I think that over time, certain players, you seen when you come down to the secondary, it's a little different to me for whatever reason. But you got guys that might be playing out of position. I would love to see Eli Apple struggled as the number 2 cornerback. Perhaps he can be a better nickel. You look at P.J. Williams. P.J. Williams struggled as a cornerback, and we know P.J.'s not a cornerback. We've been saying P.J.'s not a cornerback for years, and then this year the Saints finally transitioned him to a safety, and he was lights out. So when they bring him back, people say, oh, no, they're bringing him back as a cornerback. I was like, I hope they don't bring him back as a cornerback because it don't make sense because you have the XFL guy there. You have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson who would do better at the cornerback position than P.J. Williams. So hopefully P.J. is back as a safety. So I say all that to say that certain players was out of position, in my opinion. But you'll see you lights out right on everything else. You're talking about Malcolm Jenkins, plug-and-play option, who was vital in his plays with Philadelphia. He shouldn't have ever left the Saints. A plug-and-play option like Emmanuel Sanders, who's a perfect complement to Mike Thomas. I mean, everywhere you go on this team, the Saints have depth. They have an impactful veterans where we were weak at last year. Upgrade. Malcolm Jenkins is an upgrade over Von Bell. He might be several years older than Von Bell, but you take away the age advantage. Malcolm Jenkins, it will in his whole career will be a lot more impactful than Von Bell will ever be. Von Bell's a good safety, but Malcolm Jenkins was running that Philadelphia team and was a core member of why that team won a Super Bowl that year. He was back there putting in work, and I expect that to happen in a few couple of years. I attribute his success, or say that his success will be similar to what Sharper's success was in his initial year, that first year when he came on here.
Oh, my sweet Lord.
So
from your lips to the football guy's ears with that one, but go ahead.
I'm telling you, Malcolm Jenkins will have that type of impact because of his clairvoyance, and he's a good teacher. He's a solid dude off the field. And then Emmanuel Sanders is the same type of way as a wide receiver, has multiple Super Bowl trips. And then he's a good guy to hang around to teach these young guys like Callaway, Johnson, and the rest of the guys like Traquan Smith. Imagine what he can do with Traquan Smith that Malcolm Jenkins could do with Marcus Williams. So I'm saying this is a plus in their play on the field, but not only that, these guys impact the guys around them. And that to me is super huge on every level. So yeah, I think as far as Aaron Glenn commentary, I think Glenn will get better because listen, you had Jenkins back there, both the Jenkins guys. Janoris gets some more time to be in the Saints system. He'll get better. Malcolm Jenkins is back. He knows the system. He's going to handle business. And then you look at guys, the younger guys that had an opportunity to be familiarized with the system a year in. Then the guy like DJ Swearinger is another veteran that we don't talk about who will have an impact off the bench also to help the veterans. So I hear what you're saying, Scoob, and I agree with you on with a lot of your points, brother.
Right. And then how about this? I just realized something, right? This might be switching a little bit of a gear, but you know who is the capologist for the Saints? It was just brought out in a recent interview or a recent article on NOLA.com, I believe.
And it's not our usual suspects. Loomis, is it Carey?
It's Loomis's It's Loomis's assistant. His name is Kai Hartley.
Kai Hartley, yeah.
So this dude got two of our former kickers named Kai Forbab and Garrett Hartley. No wonder these cats is kicking the contracts down the damn line. You know, he got two kickers named. They call this dude the capologist. He's kicking contracts down the field like he's Kai Forbab or Garrett Hartley. I'm loving it, yo. This whole from the very top to the bottom. I really don't know what Lauscher does. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to front on the dude, but I really can't. I examine all aspects of the thing. the whole team from every construct. I really don't see where his role is anything more than just a glorified face in the organization. What they should do is they should move Loomis to his position, and then give old Jeff Ireland a full GM position, and give that Kai Hartley, give him the reins, man, and let him GM his ass to death and go for it, yo, because he is the real reason. I looked at it. It like he is the Saints capologist, and I'm looking at it because we always say Mickey money or Mickey whatever, but it's this dude who's the one. He's the brass behind the whole twist. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. So that was another Sean Payton appointment. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yo, what's going on here? Can you not see that you are so in depth at adding this really, really great string of aces in their play and can't get out damn way when it comes to running the ball? Like, what gives? What gives? How you so brilliant and then so clueless at the same damn time? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not bashing Sean. I love Sean Payton. Don't get it twisted. And then when he got that little thing, or that little interview the other day with Kay Adams, right. I think she's absolutely gorgeous because she's a Saints fan. Otherwise, she's just average. But she's gorgeous because she loves the black and gold. You got me? But she gave him some in-depth questions, and he gave us some insight. Mm-hmm. He said what Q been saying. Q says, I don't trust what he's saying. He's a politician. He talks out both sides of his mouth, which is coach speak. It's called coach speak. They have to do that, right? But at the same time, he actually laid it out to you where the point is he said that Jameis and Taysom understand that they have to beat out competition. So, you know, he lets you know that even though his boy said, Jay Glazer said, yeah, well, Taysom's going to be the man. Sean Payton lets you know, look, I say that now because I like where he is. I like his skill set, and that my idea of developing him is for the Saints' future. But then when Jameis falls in your lap, you got to be realistic. Hey, look, unfortunately, he's going to have to beat Jameis out. Yep. You know what I mean? So regardless of that $16.5 million guarantee or $11 million a year or whatever, he's going to have to beat him out. Sean Payton is setting us up for a Super Bowl run. He can't play on the goddamn field. So what are these cats going to do? We had too many rookies, Mr. 43. I whiff on Diggs to stop you from going to the championship. But you know what I'm saying? Those cats, there's no longer. He's got veterans spread out among where they need to be. He got a veteran right next to MT. Now, MT don't got to work so hard. Well, he's still going to work hard, but now he's not going to face potential triple coverages. You know what I mean? The coverage ain't always going to roll towards him. Because now you got Sanders, who's the number 2, and then you could put, like, come on, man. It's just we loaded. And then Sean is doing it, and God damn it, come on. Let's raise this fucking flag and hoist this Lombardi this year. If it ain't got nothing to do with nothing but Sean's efforts, it should be something. Because nigga, get your head in the game and call run plays when we should be, and able to do whatever is, you know, what we're going to be saying later in the year, obviously. But the point is, on paper and from what he's been doing over these last 3 years, 12-4, 13-3, 13-3, that's Sean, bro. That's Sean. He is putting us in place. His dumb plays notwithstanding. Can the defense, can Dennis Allen get a cornerback that's going to tackle somebody? You know what I'm saying? It's not always on Sean Payton. We like to put it on Sean Payton, but be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. When he's gone, look at the strides he's making, man. These last 3 years, this team is on fire. He wasn't the one that hit Tommy Lee Lewis. He wasn't the one that didn't tackle Diggs. You got me? Mm-hmm.
I feel you.
I love where we headed, bro, and I think this year is our year to hoist that Lombardi.
I agree with you, Scoob. I think a lot of it is Sean Payton is deserved the right to be a coach here with the team, and I think a lot of times the people have a good mind frame to then look at the coach and question a lot of curious moves not too often we criticize him, but we recognize that the key to winning football is balance. Now, we've gotten away a lot of times of being an unbalanced team because we're so talented, but that has a limit to it, especially in the playoffs. When you're playing the best of the best, you have to use that balance aspect. You don't expect to be so big-chested and egotistical where you don't bring balancement into it, because regardless of how talented you are, the football gods will whoop your ass into shape sooner or later when you don't bring the balance to it. So there are many that tried to outfool them, and then they end up being taken down by far less superior teams, as evidenced by the last playoff game against the Minnesota Vikings in the Superdome. So we have to bring it. But Sean Payton's definitely earned it. But I think a lot of people will start to sour on Sean Payton if he doesn't get it done this year and Drew Brees leaves and he doesn't get it done. It's going to be a situation where you'll have a lot of the fan base that will say that he squandered his time here by not running the football. So I think it's coming to a juncture of time where he's going to have to show that he can do the balance thing to win the game, keep himself under control. So we'll maintain and see, fam.
Right. If not, harpooning. What the hell? Get him out of here. Get him out of here. All right, Pimpin'. I'm going to let you go with that. It's been so long since I talked to you, you know what I'm saying? And you like my brother, so I got
Same here, bro.
Had to bounce it off the wall with my man to know. But anyway, go back to the chat and hit up my man for the last call, and then we'll be out, I guess. I don't know how you're going to do it, but love you, Pimpin', and peace out. Talk to you later.
All right, same to you, my brother, and you have a good one. Peace out to you.
Yes, sir.
That's cool, man. Jamal, you on the line, my friend?
Yeah, I'm here, my brother. I finally got through the DMV, my brother.
That's right. Just finally got through, brother.
I'm going to be quick, man. So there's going to be an event on Sean Payton.
Okay.
Man, like the whole sentiment of the show, like last time and this week, you know, Sean Payton, like holding the team back and stuff. Like I'm gonna hold my optimism on Sean Payton because I'm gonna wait and hold off because Sean Payton just like that person where it's like you have a scab and you peel the scab back off. Oh, that's how I felt, my brother. From 017, like that was a dagger, like in our hearts. Mm-hmm. Then we're trying to get over it. Next year, we get a little closer. Then Sean Payton just ripped the scab back off last year. Yeah. So, that's how it felt. So, I'm going to hold my optimism on Sean Payton until he do better. I'm not going to see we going all the way and we going to win it. And, I don't be pessimistic, but that's how I feel. Sean Payton got to do better because he got the number one roster they claim right now. And if he just wastes that away, I think Sean Payton need to get the blue slip. I think he need it, Q. Bro, I'm tired. My patience running out on Payton. I can't deal with him no more. I can't, my brother.
Jamal, I think you got something there, bro. A lot of people feel that way because of the playoff failures of the last several years, man. The Minnesota, and it's not just like playoff losses where you could say, man, we tried, we just fell short to a better team. They were just absolute horrible ways to lose games, and it's just like in the playoffs, we finding the worst ways to lose these playoff games, and that's the thing that angers a lot of diehard fans. It's the way we lose in these games. The Minnesota Miracle game, we had to come from behind and ultimately almost won that game and to lose it on the very last play in a ridiculous and horrifying fashion. Just, that was ridiculous. The Rams game, the debacle in the Dome was ridiculous. And then last year, we thinking we could get over those two terrible previous playoff failures, and then you lose to the Vikings team that beat you 3 years prior. And that's just with a quarterback who has a reputation of losing big primetime games. Cut you up like he was Joe Montana. So, I mean, once again, we that's why a lot of people are feeling the way you are, is that he has to show and prove. And that's simply because of the behavior of the team. You're not saying anything irrational or unlogical. You're basically saying what common sense folk would say, is that Sean Payton, you're the reason why we are losing these games like we done because we should have dominated the Vikings in that first matchup 3 years ago in Minnesota. We had to come back to beat them, and then what kind of play was that toward the back end with your defensive coordinator call? The mistakes made in the Rams-Saints matchup, drop touchdown passes, and the way we didn't, the missed opportunities we had in the Rams game, not even talking about the ridiculous call at the end. And then there was no excuse for what happened in the Minnesota game. You should have won that Minnesota game, and then we won't blame it on the referee at the end of the game. I'm sick of that. It's not on the referee. You shouldn't even leave it up to the referee. How about beating a team so bad or beating out front of them where the referee doesn't have an impact on the game? That's how you won the majority of your regular season games. Why does that philosophy not apply in the postseason? Then there's now the Saints are starting to gain a reputation now. Now nobody not really talking about it yet. But I'm going to tell you something. If they lose again in the playoffs like they've lost the last 3 years, then you're going to hear all that come out about the Saints can't win the big game no more. That the Saints, Sean Payton lost it, that the game done passed them up. You're going to hear a lot of that stuff because the Saints seem like now in the playoffs over the last 3 years, they call it bad luck. A lot of reporters saying it's bad fortune, it's bad luck. No, it's not bad fortune and bad luck. And many ask, it's a destiny game. And what I mean by that is you control what you do on the field, not nobody else. That's like me going out there blaming everybody else because I failed doing something I was supposed to do, and I'm going to blame you and everybody in the chat. Well, it's the reason why that failed because of them. That don't make no sense. It's on me. And if I'm the head coach, I have to get my team prepared to go to war with that team. And we were on that. We're in the preseason game for the Vikings. We was doing the keys to victory. We had the scouting report and read the keys of victory and the scouting report on the air for the post game. Go back and listen to the show. We covered it, a 2 or 3 hour preview show for that Minnesota playoff game last year. Read the keys of victory and everything down the line. The cold part about it is the Saints didn't even follow none of that. They went in there and lost. And then the next game, the Vikings played the 49ers. They ran the same scouting report that we read from the show.
You're right, Q. So, because it's like Kyle Shanahan go with the flow of the game. Like he dictates, like the team shows the defense and Kyle Shanahan runs his play with the defense dictate to him and he stick with the game plan. But Sean Payton, like you say, Q, he gonna poke out his chest, get erratic with the play calling, and like I know you hear the comparisons to Marty Schottenheimer. That's not a good comparison to have, Q.
No,
it's not a good comparison to have.
No, absolutely not. Now, no disrespect
and
to
all the
Marty Schottenheimer, but,
as well.
But he couldn't win no playoff games.
I know. Oh, that's a failure. When you is compared to Marty Schottenheimer, Schottenheimer, you are being compared to a failure. And that's where Sean Payton is getting that territory of being a failure and being a choke artist. Because I know you hear it all the time about the choking. And when he did that to, like, the running back for Atlanta when he did the choke sign, now it's coming back on him of being a choke artist. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's not a good thing to have.
No.
And last thing in the queue before I go, if I see PJ Williams in the secondary at crunch time, I think I'm gonna have an aneurysm, Q. I really think so, Q.
That depends, bro. If he playing safety, I wouldn't be upset about that, would you?
No, Q. He don't need to play no safety. I don't even have him in the game. He gonna ride that bitch next to Sean Payton, and he not coming in the game. Because if I see him out there on a good wide receiver and he going one-on-one, I think I'm gonna have an aneurysm, Q. That's where it's hidden, bro. I don't want to see him in the game in crunch time, period. He ride the pine next to Terry Glenn or Sean Payton and just use him on special teams. He don't need to be in the secondary of no crunch time games or no games on the line.
Jamal, he might not even make the team, though. I mean, the competition the competition is so thick at the cornerback position. He might not even actually make the team. I mean, you never know.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah,
saying
Q.
at safety, definitely at cornerback, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's supposed to be the nickel guy. Then behind him is Patrick Robinson, who reworked his
Yeah.
contract to make itself. And then you got the XFL cornerback that's there. So, and then you have the two undrafted guys that are interested, might be practice squad players. You never know. These guys could actually be solid, and you never know. But PJ Williams it's a long stretch for him to even make the team. To be honest with you, it's not the same.
That's what I want, Q.
Last year.
That's what I want. That's what I want, Q. Cut him. I don't want to see him on the field, Q. I don't want to see him on the field. But I ain't gonna hold you up, Q. You know, I just wanted to get that vent rant off my chest about Payton. And I'm gonna holler at the family. Till next time. And I just want to say, Q, just keep doing what you're doing, Q. That's all you got to do, my brother.
I appreciate you, Tramal. Much love to you, my family, and you be safe out there, bro. And who that to you?
All right, Q. Who that, Q?
Who that? That my boy Tramal. And I'd like to thank all the family members for chiming, man, for real. All the great calls we had today. I love it, man. Big ups to Uncle Paulie, who called it, started it off. Also to my boy Scoop, my boy Scoob. Big ups to him. To Boss Hog and Scoop had great commentary. Uncle Paulie and Tramal, excellent. Appreciate the call. Solid group of people called today. Much love to you. I see you, JT. Who that to you, JT? He said, hey, Q, been having some family passing from the virus, but the old guy is back. My birthday is tomorrow. Good to see you, JT. Who that to you? Much love to you, my man, and please be safe out there, family. My prayers to you and your family, brother. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm happy that you are safe as well. Ernest, big ups to you, Ernest. Don't get it twisted. Shanahan pulled Sean P. during the Super Bowl. He got the call, stopped running the ball, and tried to make Garoppolo the MVP. Yep, that's true. Good point, Ernest. Who that to you? Who that to you? Audit the Fed. Good to see you, family. Been a minute. Good to see you in the chat as well. Adrian, good to see Adrian in the track. What's up, Adrian? Who that to you, baby? Much love to you as well. Good to see you in the chat as well. Cap Manny 2020. What up, fam? He says, make it a trend. What you think, Q? Y'all keep messing with Uncle Paulie. Jess Leo 12 says Kirkpatrick will be a good veteran. Who that to your family? I see you. 8 Ward Zach 41. What up, 8 Ward Zach? I see you, family. Much love to you as well. And who that to the people joining. And also, family, good to see a lot of the family members in the building. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now for the Great Saints Think Tank. And thank all the beautiful family members for chiming in tonight, man. It was the most excellent show. 3.5 hours plus the 20 plus minutes or so. I know it's over 40 something. It had to be almost 4 hours because we had to break the show in parts because of the outage. Boo Nichols, who that to you, man? Boo Nichols, who that? Says, man, great show, Q. See you here next week, my man. Who that to you, Boo? Appreciate you, Boo Nichols. Much love to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us here. And before I go, family, you know, I like to run my little commercial ads for the shop, just to let the family members know that the Pro Apparel, this is our own apparel. A lot of people think it's just me doing all this stuff, and I'm flattered that you think it's me can do all this stuff. It's a lot of people behind the scenes that work with me, man, that make it work, man. I could not possibly do all this stuff, man. But the designing of gear and all that kind of stuff, as you can see, God is a Saints fan with the crown and all kind of gear, all sizes, all colors are available. That means men, women, and children, all available. Over 30 designs. I think it's like 35 designs. T-shirts are available at our pro shop. It's tees, sweaters, long sleeve shirts, all kind of stuff, man. Coffee mugs, smartphone cover cases, all of that. All of that. And we keep adding every week. We add more and more and more. We're working on hats and gear as well. That'll be available coming up next week sometimes as well. And just to let you know, you can go down. It's teespring.com/store/the pro shop. 15% off with the code Stay Strong. And then, of course, when you sign up with Teespring, they give you 10%. So you got 10% from them, 15 from me equals 25%. And then you get 25% off at the pro shop. You know, and that should help you during this tough, turbulent time, man. We got to be able to at least give discounts. You see the Great Saints Think Tank coffee mug there and gear available as well. So much love to the family members for doing that. Also to let the family members know about the Pro Radio. All the shows, majority of the shows, the Saturday shows and some of the Wednesday shows available for audio format. So if you guys want to listen to the show at work or on the road, the audio versions are available at the Pro Radio at Pro Media Network, or what we call Pro Radio. You can hear Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Ring Kings Boxing World, and Tough Tiger Talk, all available on Pro Radio. It's Spreaker.com/The Sports Coma. The link is in the description section below. Also, to let the family members know that we also have a Patreon page that's available. And we also, on Patreon, we have several different shows that we do, including a Sports Coma question and answer show. It's called TSC Q&A Live, and is only available on our Patreon channel. And it's a show that's not available to the rest of the YouTube audience. It's just for our Patreon champions and people who signed up and support us through Patreon. It's a special show there. It's also, you can hear On Cue with Big Q there as well. On Cue with Big Q is also available there, and that's a show where we go outside of football, then we talk entertainment, we talk politics, we talk it there, and we talk that real on Cue with Big Q. A lot of the family members know that subscribe to it. They know, man, that On Cue with Big Q is a really, really interesting show indeed. So if you're interested in helping us grow the platform, you can feel free to sign up at patreon.com/the PRO Media Network. So much love to you. I see you, Ramsey. Who that to you? Says Matt Detillier said on Matt Moscona's show the other day that there's a reason that Everson Griffin is still a free agent. Could be money, could be a number of things. Who knows? But why is Clay Matthews still one? Why is Marcus Golden still one? I mean, even if we don't end up with Griffin, we still should end up with one of those impactful pass rushers. So it's the Saints are just not looking in their direction because they obviously feel secure with what they have. And I really don't really know if you should. If this is Drew last year, I wouldn't play games like that. I would just solve the position. But who am I? I'm just Big Q off the sports. Trail says, yes, Everson Griffin said he hasn't decided because he want to actually come in and meet with the teams. Okay, well, that's coming soon if that's the case. Hopefully that might be something that can work out. Verlin, who that to you? Verlin, I see your family. Much love to you. I see you in the chat as well. So just to let the family members know, I appreciate y'all, man, for chiming in on today's show. Also to let y'all guys know tomorrow, and this is just something that I got from my sons who love Madden, and I've grew up on Madden, of course. There's a lot of Madden people out there, is that it makes sense now with a lot of the Sunday, nothing going on football-wise, that we decided as a group to be able to do Madden simulations on the channel now. So starting tomorrow, Madden simulations will play at 12 o'clock Central Time. So if you're interested in that, please mark your calendar. You'll get an alert tomorrow for the Madden. So it'll be the simulation of Madden contest. It'll be Saints simulation. It'll start off with the week 1 matchup of the Saints at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All updated rosters like it is right now. Updated rosters. All the players and draft picks who will make the 53-man roster. All this kind of stuff. We'll start it off, and it will run all the way into the season, all the way up until the Super Bowl of the Madden. So we're going to be starting that tomorrow at noon. So just to let you guys know about that, we'll be doing the Madden simulation starting tomorrow at noon with all the updated rosters, and we'll be simulating the Saints regular season, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 1. So that'll be interesting. I'll be watching it myself. And jumping on there. You might hear me in the background talking mess. But we decided to do that as well. Not to mention, family, just to let y'all know about the WhoDatDaily.com. The WhoDatDaily.com, which is our news site that we have. The WhoDatDaily.com is our news site. It's the headquartered site of the platform where you find a lot of our content. And just to let them know, a lot of family members know, we talk to a lot of people about this in TSC Q&A, and I'm letting the rest of the Great Saints Think Tank know about it, that starting next week and going into the future, that we'll be taking for people interested in contributing to the PRO Media Network and interested in becoming journalists in writing articles, if you have any interest in that or any ability to write articles, it's not a paid situation yet. We're still building a platform. So if we're looking for people dedicated and hardworking that's willing to help build a platform, the whothatdaily.com. I'm not handling it, but there are people close to me that's handling a situation that if you're interested in being a journalist, which you can work closely with the PRO Media Network and become a contributor. It's like I said, it's a non-paying gig. Looking for Saints people, Pelican writers, Saints writers, boxing writers as well. If you're interested in something like that, then you can feel free to contact the PRO Media Network at gmail.com and put in the subject interested in being a contributor. So if you're interested in becoming a contributor on whothatdaily.com, which is our headquarter platform news site, then you can by simply writing down our email and contacting us and put in the subject line, I want to be a contributor. Put your name and your credentials down there. And that goes to, it's not me. I'm not involved in the process. Some of other people handle that, and they'll look at the contributors and they'll decide who's was what. But we're looking for Saints writers. We're looking for Pelicans writers. We're looking for boxing people and perhaps entertainment writers as well. So if that sounds like you and you're willing to get your feet wet and become a contributor on the platform, then this might be an opportunity for you. So just holler at hit the email, the PRO Media Network at gmail.com, put in the subject section that I want to be a contributor, and then write down your name, and put down your credentials on it and what you would like to do and such and such. Remember, this is a non-paying gig. This is simply a contributorship that's non-paying right now. So if you're interested and you've got the love and you're dedicated enough and you want to take that step, then this might be an opportunity. It's called it's the email. Scoob put in the chat, Scoob, Adrian, or Dada, or Derek, or my heavy-handed moderators, the PRO Media Network at gmail.com. That's the PRO Media Network at gmail.com. Once again, the PRO Media Network at gmail.com. Put in the subject head, I want to be a contributor, and then put your credentials in there, meaning your name, where you're from, and then put in a paragraph on why you think you will be a good contributor. Do you have any experience in writing or being in that manner in the media field, whatnot? Just put a brief sentence about yourself down there. Remember, I don't get it. They have other people that's involved in the platform that'll look it over and they will make the decisions. But this is an opportunity for a lot of the family members out there who are hardcore and diehard Great Saints Think Tank members. This is an opportunity to be more in line with the platform. So if you're interested in that and that sounds like something for you, we are taking contributors for Saints, Pelicans, boxing, and entertainment stuff as well. So if that's you, feel free to hit it up. The PRO Media Network at gmail.com is the email address. So thank y'all, Malik. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I thank y'all for all y'all do. Please be safe out there and watch out for any crazy people running. Y'all take it easy, man. I love y'all, man, and I will see y'all to talk to y'all later. Remember, tomorrow is the first week of the Madden simulations, simulating regular season game number 1, the Saints versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady versus Drew Brees, Madden simulation. That's tomorrow at 12 o'clock, so please mark your calendar for that. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Who that to y'all, and I'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Well, all right. Like you always say, welcome, welcome, welcome. Number 1 sports talking D. We ain't like the Falcons, we won't blow the lead. Look, all we talk is who that, who got cut and who back. Rookies in the vets, players you should look at. It's the sports coma, you don't wanna miss it. Got the pre-game, party, post-game statistics. Get a visit from Sway, maybe DC or 5. It's the hottest thing smoking, Big Q and the guys. Go to YouTube Live, make sure you subscribe. Interviews inside the Saints locker room high. Talk to Drew, Jordan, Zach, Payton, New Orleans, who that nation. Best believe when I say we bleed gold and black. Ain't a miracle or robbery could ever hold us back. No, BC face quake, bound and gate, let the truth be told. It's the sports coma, all we know is say Super Bowl. Yeah.
You're listening to the Sports Coma.